Okay, so we are live. At least it seems that way. I believe we are. So if we're live and everything is green, everything is good to go, I want to say ETM Hotep, which means welcome in peace, or it could mean welcome and be satisfied, or welcome with satisfaction, anything along those lines. And the bottom line is um, welcome and make yourself at home, you know. We talk about Hotep because in the past, people have tried to make claims about the word Hotep and about people today using the word Hotep as a greeting, and so there were a few claims that was in circulation that the word Hotep is a foul word, it's a negative word, and that people shouldn't use it, and so on. And so we addressed that maybe 4 years ago. It's been a long while, and we have a video actually on the channel about the word hotep and an article, a short article, and I believe it's called "Is the word hotep a foul word?" And we addressed that. So anyway, ETM hotep. So welcome. Just real quick, the word hotep itself, it means an offering, and then there's derived meanings that come out of that whole concept of offering, such as peace. So you hear a lot of people use it and say peace, it means peace, um, or stillness, tranquility, satisfaction, and offering. All of those you'll hear, depending on who you talk to or what you're reading. And all of those are kind of related within the same semantic scope. So it's perfectly fine to greet people with hotep, because what you're doing, what it is, it's a figurative way now, or more so symbolic of what used to be a literal act. It was a literal act in the past and in the distant history or ancient times, where um if you were on a long journey, we didn't have cars, there was no such thing as cars, um planes and things like that. At best it was a form of boats, and that's if you live near the river or water. But for the most part, people traveled on foot, and they traveled pretty long distances in the hot sun and so on. And usually you would try to pack something on your journey. And when you reached your destination, you would be your energy would be expelled or expended and so on. And so when you reach your destination, the host who you were going to visit or do business with would give you an offering, and it was to satisfy you and to replenish you. And so you were given an offering when you come into the presence of someone. And so they would actually act out, not necessarily even have to say it, but act it out, by saying welcome with this offering, ET, which is a state of coming. The word E means to come, but ET is a stative form of that verb come, and it means um, I have come, and now I have come, and now I am come, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to use that word come in that way, but it's that's why we say it means welcome, because you have arrived. And then hotep being the offering, so you would offer food and drink, and we do that today. When you go visit somebody will offer you a glass of water, somebody will offer you some tea, and they'll say, hey, make yourself at home, relax yourself. So it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, but now we just say it as a greeting. ETM hotep. All right, so anyway, and I'm talking and buying a little bit of time for people to tune in a bit. And so in reverse, we would say Shem Imhotep. Shem meaning to go, to leave, and Imhotep meaning go with this offering. And everybody and their mother knows, tell the truth, shame the devil, that when you go visit your parents' house or grandparents' house and you try to leave, they will almost force you to take a plate of food with you or take something with you out the door. I don't know about you, but I know I can't leave. I couldn't leave my grandparents' house or my grand aunts and uncles' houses. I could never leave their house without taking something with me. They insist. I mean, it could be a bed sheet, you know, uh, um, anything. You know, they would try to get you to leave with something. But anyway, that's also the practical actual act of um leaving with an offering. And so in historical or ancient times, same thing. You would leave the presence of someone taking something with you for your journey so that you can, whether it's a bottle of water, a pitcher of water, whatever the case is, or food that you can eat on your journey so that you can always stay satisfied. All right. So there's nothing wrong with the word hotep whatsoever. It was never seen that way. So the people that made that claim in the past, we addressed it, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. All right. Now, related to that, real quick, um, there's a word for peace in Semitic languages, and I'm sure anybody's tuned in. You've heard these words before, and that is salam in Arabic or shalom in Hebrew. And when you hear it translated, they say it means peace. So they say shalom or assalamu alaikum and or shalom lek. And they say there's peace or peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Now, in those Semitic um, concepts of peace, that word actually comes from the concept of surrendering, meaning that you are begging for mercy. You are giving up, you know, and it's in a connotation, it's in a scenario of fighting. If you're fighting and you're losing, you throw in the white, you wave the white flag or you throw in the towel. And so it's a gesture to beg for mercy. And that's what shalom or salam in Semitic languages. And even in the Rani Kemet ancient Egyptian language, there is a word sharom with an R, sharom, and it was used in primary sources. You can in text you can actually read this in text, and I don't have the text off the top of my head, but if pressed, I'll dig it up and make sure I share that. But in certain texts, the word sharom in Rani Kemet, the ancient Egyptian language, it was used in battle when the enemies were surrendering, asking and begging for mercy, and that's what the word means, sharom. Peace. I want peace. I want peace. I want peace. Be merciful. Be merciful. All right. So, all right. With that being said, again, ETM Hotel, welcome everybody to the chat, to the channel. And I see, give a shout out to Donnie Williams, Sundemo, Hotep. I don't know if you want to come in and take a stab at this freestyle. But today is Friday, it's Freestyle Friday. All right. So you all know who've been tuned in, who watch our channel before. We have, a lot of content dealing with Freestyle Friday, Divine Words Wednesdays. And so here we are, Freestyle Friday, April 30th, 2021. And I see Niwa Sarah, Brother Zane, Brother Sadiq, Hotep to you all. All right. So, and share this video, share it around. Cause I don't, when I go live and I just start talking. I just start running my mouth and I never share the video around on Facebook platform or anything like that. So share this link. Because other people may be interested and not even really know that we started this up again. Some people that used to watch when we did this, they may not even know that we started this back up, Freestyle Fridays. All right. So make sure you share the link. Tell everybody to tell everybody to tell everybody. All right. So I'm still running my mouth, but it's not just me on here. So let's see who was on the panel. Oh, Okay, Emicat. So you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, yes, yes. Hotel Pabet E. Ren E, Imiket, as in my name is Imiket, and yeah, I'm just ready to get into, the freestyle. So welcome.
All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, so it's Friday, like I said, we're gonna do this consistently. So we try to do as much participation as we can. So this time around, I'm gonna post a link early. Okay, I'm gonna post a link now. So if you're able to come into the panel and speak or share information, we're gonna go through a freestyle. But if you want to come in here and participate, by all means do so. So let me just get the link real quick and post it. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, and there we have it. Let me see. Can I pin this? I guess not. I saw, I saw somebody before on YouTube pin a chat comment, or maybe I'm mistaken, and I may be mistaken, but I don't seem to have any options to pin that. So anyway, I could have sworn I said I'm gonna have to track that down. Maybe somebody in the chat could tell me if that's true. Maybe I was looking at a different platform.
Yeah, I'm trying to Google that right now.
Okay, I think there's a way to pin a comment. If it's not, then hey, YouTube, that's a nice feature that needs to be added. So anyway, that's the link. So yeah, if you don't have to be shy. We don't force people to turn their cameras on or anything like that. You just have to have a working microphone. All right, and no foolishness. That's the only thing we ask. It's not too much at all. All right. So okay, so Mikael, let's go ahead and jump in to this. Did you have any any opening comments or anything?
No, no, not really.
Okay. All right. So all right. So again, this is Freestyle Friday. And a quick description of Freestyle Friday. We call it Freestyle Friday because we actually go through the process of transliterating and translating. There's four main steps to that process, and we do it without any help of any books. Okay. Hence the word freestyle. So we're freestyling. And it's a very good, fun exercise because it allows you to know what you've retained in terms of your studies and what you need to work on. And sometimes you'd be surprised at what you know and what you've remembered once you're faced with the opportunity to actually transliterate and translate something. Okay, but this should be practiced all the time. So for any of you all who are listening now live or in the archive, listen to this video as a recording. If you are a student of the language, I don't care what level you're on, always practice. Okay, take some time out, maybe at the very least once a week. Grab an inscription from somewhere or whatever. Google. The internet has a whole lot of Egyptian artifacts and things like that. The only thing that I would strongly, strongly recommend is that you pick a genre of text or stick to one kind of text for a while, then move on to something else. So for example, um you may want to do false doors. Yeah, what they call false doors. So find a lot of false doors and then work on the text that are around those false doors. You may want to work on various stelae, then grab a lot of those pictures and work on those. You may want to work on offering slabs and things. Whatever it is, try to stick to that for a while, and it will greatly benefit you. All right, so I'll explain that further maybe later. Okay, so we're gonna jump into this. I see we have. Okay, so welcome, Niwasara. If you have anything opening, you have any words you want to share before we get started?
No, I just want to say peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to everybody in the panel.
All right, all right. Okay, okay. So, all right, so we're gonna jump into it. So I'm gonna share the image right now. Okay, so this is the image, and I know it's small for now because I want to. I'm just showing the full picture of it. I want to make sure everyone on YouTube is able to see it. Hotep, the brother Robert Rand, and anyone else that I may have missed. Peace. Okay, so this is the image we're gonna work with tonight. Now, for time purposes, to keep these videos, bite sized and everything, we're not gonna do freestyle this entire image because like I said, I like to do the interaction and step by step. So we're just gonna go until we feel enough has been done on this image. All right. So this is the image. Now, before we dig into it, what I do want to do is to explain the actual 4 steps, but I want to put it up on the screen and have one of you all read it. And give me 1 second to track it down. Here we are. So these are the 4 steps. So if one of you all don't mind, if you can read these 4 steps. So Niwa Sarah, I always look for participation. So since you jumped on and you're not, you're kind of new, not new, but kind of new. I want, if you don't mind, if you can read these steps.
Okay.
Well,
Step
1
1.
second.
Okay.
Hold on, let me make sure I pin my screen. Okay, how do I do that? Right here. There we are. Okay, so go for it.
Step 1 is observation, and it's determining the direction in which the glyphs are to be read. Let me just keep going, or are you going to expound on
Yeah.
it?
Just keep going.
Step 2, data collection. Identify and document each individual glyph. Step 3, pattern recognition. Group glyphs into words to be searched in dictionaries. Step 4, apply the grammar. Come up with a sensible translation.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So those are the 4 steps. And I don't care how advanced people think they are, how advanced they actually are, or if you're a novice, beginner, whatever, these are the 4 steps that are immutable. You're going to do them regardless. Now, your proficiency in all of this will determine how fast you do it. So obviously, for example, identifying all the glyphs. Some people may be familiar with more glyphs than others. So obviously they won't have to dig into a book. So for step 2, you're going to need a what they call a sign list, but we refer to it as a glyph list. But a sign list or glyph list, you're going to need that because you have to look up the glyphs that you're not familiar with. For step 3, you're going to need dictionaries, and I say dictionaries plural because it's always good to have more than one dictionary, especially dealing with Rani Kemet, the Egyptian language. And then step 4, you may step 4 and step 1 are things that you're going to have to burn into your mind. You're going to have the grammar under your belt, but obviously it's good to have grammar resources with you as well. All right. So that's the tools you'll need. But on Freestyle Friday, we dispense the use of all of those. We don't use any books at all. All right. Now, if we want to go into overtime and anything that we're stumped on, we could crack open the books. But anyway, okay. So those are the 4 steps, and hopefully everyone understands that we repeat this every time. So I know we sound like a broken record with this, but it's good to be safe than better to be safe than sorry. Okay, so let's switch over to the image again. Okay, so this is the image we're going to work with. All right. And as you can see, there's some yellow squares with numbers in them, and these are numbered to make it easy to follow along. So we have number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over on the left we have 5, 6, 7, and then we have a list of numbers going down corresponding to these rows. All right. So let's dive in. So I'm gonna blow up the picture, and then we'll start from the top. Now, hopefully that's seen pretty big. And I'll just sit it here for a while, get everybody, a chance to put their eyes on it and look it over. And I want to make sure that it shows up nice and big on YouTube. Okay, there we are. All right. Itim Hotep Teddy Wasama Ra Neferu. Okay, so let's start it off. So I'm probably pick on you. I'm gonna probably pick on you a lot, Niwasara, because you don't actually only one in here. Imiket, everyone's already used to Sabat Imiket, So so step one, let me ask you. Step one. Okay, it's interesting. Okay, so based on what's seen now, obviously I blew it up so you can't see the bottom portion, but just on the portion that you can see right here. Tell me, what can you tell me about step one, the direction, based on what you see, and if you have to call off a number and things, that's fine.
Well, the one that's one, you read it from right to left.
Yep.
And number two.
Okay, now hold on. Let me pause you for a sec. So, no, you're absolutely correct. But for the full answer to step one, remember that you have to give the direction and the orientation. So the direction is either left to right or right to left, which you answered correctly. But then the orientation is either columns or rows.
Okay. So this is a column.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were gonna go on to another one?
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say number two. I would say the number two, and I'm basing this just off of 3 and 4. You're reading it from left to right, and they're all in columns as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 5 is left to right, and it's in a column. 6 is in a column, and it's left to right. And 7 is right to left, and it's in a column as well.
Okay, now that's perfect. That's absolutely correct. But tell us, how did you know to switch it up like that?
Most of them have animals and they're facing a certain direction. And so you would read into their face rather than into like the back of their head. And if it's not an animal, you can see the arm glyph in column 6 and the way it's sort of holding out. So you would read into the hand instead of like the back of the arm. And number 1, there's no animals, but there is a arm holding like a bread loaf, and there's also the asar, or like the throne, I guess you would call it. It is facing like where you would actually sit. It's facing the right. So I saw that, and the other one you just had.
Okay, excellent. All right, that's perfect. And that's absolutely right. So we always read into the glyphs as if we're having a conversation with them. And like in real life, we would never, or we shouldn't, talk to the back of people's heads and things like that. So we would face each other. Okay. So all right. So I think that's good with step 1. So step 2 is to identify all of the glyphs in whatever inscription that you're working with. And so step 2, it can, the I guess the how complicated it is or how long it takes you will depend on how many glyphs you already have in your mind, memorized and familiar with. Okay, so some people can look at this and never need to crack open a book, while others may need to open up that sign list and these glyphs. So, and that takes time. That takes practice. You know, as a teacher can only tell you what you should do, but actually putting in those hours. It's like learning how to play a piano. You know, I can teach or I can learn all about chord progression, scales, circle of fifths, and everything like that. But if I don't actually sit at a piano and actually finger it, like finger the scale, and get my left hand and my right hand to do different things and get coordinated, then I won't be able to play the piano. So I'll know everything, but I can't execute. And so this is pretty much the same thing. Okay. So for step 2, let's identify a couple of these glyphs. We're not, like I said, we're not going to do them all or anything, but let's identify a few of them. So, Emicat, if you want to jump in and identify any glyphs, and I'll just put the pointer there with whichever one you identify.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we could start with right there where the pointer is. You have the pillar. So you have two, yeah, and the two of them. That's the pillar, and it's a biliteral, and that would be JED for uppercase D and lowercase d. And right above it, you have the basket, and that's a biliteral as well, and that would be NB. And let's see if we can move somewhere else. Pretty repetitious. Let's see. Yeah, so then we could go above the very first one. That's an I, the I as well. I mean the I, and then it is a biliteral, and that would be IR.
Okay, so now let's do it this way. Now if you're in the chat, again, I'm gonna say welcome and peace. You know, ETM Hotep, and you know, it's a challenge to have interaction. There's a delay in the chat, and so you know that's why I posted a link early for you know. So if you're interested in participating in the conversation, you know, come on in to the panel. That way we can talk in real time, because I like interaction and I want to be able to ask the chat questions, but we always have to wait for the turnaround time on that delay. So so what I want to do is just point to a couple of glyphs, and anybody on the panel now, just go ahead and call it off. All right, if you know it. So I'm going to point to a few and just go ahead and call it off. All right. So let us go with I think I had to change my direction here. Okay, let's go with this glyph right here.
That's a quail chick, you know. So a W or like a U or something like makes that sound.
Okay. Okay. Now you're right about what a quill chick would be. But anybody else want to take a shot at what bird this is?
It's very little, but what about falcon?
Yes.
Because I'm looking at the two strokes sort of beside it, so I'll go with falcon.
Okay. Yes, and that's correct. Now the only reason why like, well, or I should speak for myself. The only reason why I would know that's a falcon and not a quail chick, or anybody would know the difference, is through familiarity, because that definitely looks like a quail chick. In any other circumstance, on its own, I would say the same thing. I would say, hey, that's a quail chick. That's the first thing that I would think about.
Yes.
But
yes.
but looking at the glyphs around it, and then being familiar with that pattern of glyphs, that grouping of glyphs, I know that's how I know that that's not a quail chick. That is actually a falcon. Okay, but it does look like a quail chick. That's be hard to distinguish between the two. Okay, so I just want to make sure people understand that you have to be flexible when it comes to doing this kind of work. Okay, so don't beat yourself up, and make sure you relax and always stay flexible. Okay, so let me point to another one. Let's see. Okay, this yeah, this one. This goes for anybody. Anybody can call it out.
I will go with what is it? The sun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Circle with the
Yes.
dot in the middle.
With the dot, and yeah.
Right. Okay. And that's correct. And likewise. And let me share this. So, okay, if you look at this object, the glyphs are not carved. I don't think any of the figures or anything on this is actually carved. It's painted. Okay, so the paint is just fully painted. And so this is very similar to if this was a papyrus sheet. And so the method in which they actually draw this and everything is the same as if they were doing on a papyrus sheet. So this is not carved. And so what scribes tend to do when using ink and pen is a certain style that we will see on some papyri, such as, for example, the so-called books of the dead, the Book of the Dead of Ani, the Book of the Dead of Hunefer, etc. If you look at how the glyphs are on those two sources and look at this, it's very similar. Okay, so this particular style, scholars like to call cursive hieroglyph, but we prefer to refer to it as what it is, which is a more simplified version of the formal carved hieroglyphs. All right. That's all it is, because each of the glyphs themselves, or we call teat in the language, each one of those is still very distinguishable and you can see what it is, and so on. But it's not as sharp and it's not carved into the stone like the formal Sesh Netcher. So this is simplified Sesh Netcher. All right. So, and there you have it. Circle with the dot. And okay, what's something else?
They're saying on the chat that it's a struggle to see, so it'd be good to zoom in a bit, probably. If that is possible, yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me do that. Okay, give me 1 second. I have to move this, and we're going to drag it out some more really big as possible, and I'll just drag it around so everybody can see it. Okay, so now magnified.
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at that bird again. So the bird we were talking about, and as I said, on its own, the assumption would be that it's a quail chick, because the quail chick looks very much like that. All right, but let's go ahead and pick some other glyphs, and I want to do this one here. Who can tell me about this glyph?
It looks like eat them.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said it looks like Amun, eat them. Eat them. Or...
Okay, no, but the specific glyph that I'm pointing to.
Oh, that's the sled. That's the
right.
Yes, the sled.
Okay, it's a sled. And what can you tell me about that glyph? That's what it is, a sled. But what else?
Phonetic value. I think it's lowercase. Yeah, TM.
Yes.
TM.
Making it a what?
A biliteral. No.
Yep.
Yes, a biliteral.
Okay. Exactly. All right. So that's pretty much it. Transliterated as TM. And let me just say this as another FYI or side piece of information. When we actually verbalize transliterations, when we say, we're gonna like spell it out verbally, when we're using manual decodage, we don't have to say lowercase. The only ones we have to say, a case is for the upper cases, because the default, is lowercase. So it's okay to say, because I don't even remember if you just did it just now, but I'm just saying it because I know some people will do that. They'll say lowercase t, lowercase m, but we just need to say T and M. And only way we change that is when we want to emphasize the uppercase ones. So when we say D, we just say D. But then we could say uppercase D, but we don't have to say lowercase d, etc. So just keep that in mind. And what else? Okay, this will be the last one. Tell me about this glyph.
That's the flag, or either that's the axe. I think it's the axe. I can't remember like which one it really is. And it's a triliteral, I think. NTR.
Yes. And so when and it will be in capital TR in manual decodage, but NTR, we know it's the triliteral, etc. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much step 2. Now you obviously we have to do that for all of the glyphs. Now, if you're watching this and you're in the chat, just go ahead of us and anything that you recognize as far as glyphs or full word or whatever case is, you can type it and we'll just look through the chat. Because like I said, it's a challenge to try to ask the chat a question and then wait for that delay and then say it and then wait for my voice to get to you, wait for your thing that you type get back to us. That turnaround time can be a doozy. Okay. All right. So I think we've identified enough glyphs. Yeah. All right. So let's get back. Let's go a little smaller again. Okay. So that's step 2. All right. Now, step 3 is to organize the glyphs into groups that form words. And then you take those words that you believe are words and then looking them up in a dictionary. Now, what's interesting about this whole process, step 1, 2, 3, and 4, it actually follows a lot like the scientific method. It has a feel of the scientific method because you have to make an assumption first, form a hypothesis, and then test it. And so we're at that step where you identify individual glyphs, which what we did for a couple of them. Then you have to group them. You have to assume groups. And then you take the groups that you assume and then look it up in a dictionary to see if you find those. Now this assumption or this hypothesis that you're going to do is not just out the clear blue. There are things that are going to help you narrow it down, such as determinatives. Determinatives are glyphs that usually come at the end of words, and so by coming at the end of a word, we know that one word ends, another one begins, and so we could parse different glyphs into words. So that's a big help. What else? And then suffix pronouns, which are attached to words, but they usually come after determinatives. Once you become familiar with those, then that will help out as well. All right. So, okay. So now we're at step 3. So let's identify a couple of these groupings and call them off. Now on freestyle, when we freestyling this way, we pretty much have to combine step 3 and 4 together. But normally, there's 4 distinct enough steps. Okay, but we're going to combine 3 and 4. So group some of these glyphs together and then tell us what the word is. Okay, so anybody on the panel, just go ahead and unmute yourself and and I'll follow you with the arrow.
I guess I'll go. Oh,
No, go ahead.
I'll go. I guess I'll start with one, and the one that sticks out to me is the eye with the netter with the throne, and I think that is Wasir or Sar.
Okay, that's correct. All right, so with the what some people may be more familiar with the name Osiris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else? And that's where I'm pointing. This arrow's pointing now. Anybody else? Excuse me. Anybody else?
Five. Oh, we're doing one.
No. Any word. I'm just gonna follow you. So
Okay.
any word that you recognize.
Five. Hor, Acheti,
Okay. Yep.
Netcher
All right.
at the bottom, right below it. Yeah, Netcher.
Okay. Good. Anybody else with something else?
Four. Would that be
4. Okay.
would that be the vulture?
Oh, where I lost my. Oh, here we go. 4. Okay. Oh, you said the vulture.
Yeah. Is that it?
Okay. Well, we're step 2 was to identify individual glyphs. So now we're trying to identify words. So if you feel that number 4 is a word, what would you believe that word to be?
Um, would it be in peace? Not peace, but life.
Okay, you were a little bit low. Can you say that again?
Does it mean life?
You said life?
Yeah.
Oh, this we're here? No. This one.
But it yeah, I don't know the I had to get a dictionary, but I know it would be up, right?
The actual
No,
word.
yeah. Is it a A?
Oh, the vulture. Um, no, now okay, so I'm glad that this is happening right now, because here's something that is going to happen to pretty much everybody that does this. There are going to be glyphs that are hard to identify, and or there are going to be some glyphs that could be a couple of things, possible things, because of how it looks. Like, for example, when we went over this quail chick or this bird here, it's thought to be a quail chick at first, but come find out it is a falcon. Now, the benefit, what you can do when you run into that situation, you'll see this glyph here, or you may not be quite familiar with the other glyphs. So if we believe that this is a vulture, then let me move this out the way. So then we should be able to go somewhere else in the text and find a something else we believe is a vulture and see if we can match it up. See if we can match it up. And so,
Okay, I can see it clear.
yeah, okay. So you will see these. Birds here like this one, we know that's a little different there.
That's the vulture.
What else? This bird here.
And I think that might be the quail chick.
Right. And so on, So I'm just saying, so the point that I'm making is that sometimes if you get stuck on a glyph in one spot of a text, you may be able to find it somewhere else in the text. And then maybe it's clearer, maybe it's not damaged at all, or you just want to verify, okay, that is what I'm looking at. Okay, especially in words that you definitely know. All right. So, okay. So anyway, I just wanted to show that. Let's go back up here to the top. Now, notice that we're leaving this out up here. Yeah, did anybody notice that those glyphs are sitting up there?
I was actually looking at that.
Yeah, I noticed.
Okay. All right, we kind of skipped over that. Can't leave that out.
Yeah, you can see them. You can see a couple in between the two four big triggers.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's all right. So we named, okay, but you asked, okay, so I'm just asking for different words. So we identified, I think Wasir was identified. What was it? Haraketi.
We also have DF on that column 1.
All right. DF, what does that mean?
That would be
That's somebody feeling. Is that somebody failing school? They get a D, then an F.
No, that's funny. No, but yeah, that's he may give.
Okay, right. They said DF like that. Is that 2 words or 1 word?
That's 1 word.
Okay. All right. Nice. Good.
The 2 on column 1, there is, I see another word in between underneath Wasir. But I think that's a K. I'm not sure if that's a K because I don't see a handle on it. Is that a K? But
Okay,
underneath
okay,
go ahead.
I have one question. The glyph that's transliterated as a K, does it have a handle or not?
It does.
Okay, it does. Now this one doesn't. The one that we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Right.
It doesn't. So what would that be? What would that be?
Yeah,
I'm not really sure. A bowl. So the bowl C? I can't remember what that would be. I know seeing it kind of makes the same sound, right? Well, underneath it, I know that that's the jab pillars, and then there's a D, there's a hand. So I was thinking that was a word, but I wasn't knowing if that basket was connected to, like, is it jetty? Maybe jetty. I think those 3. I'm not sure if that. I think the basket is probably, it has to be connected. I don't think it could be a word by itself. I'm not really sure. But
is there 2 baskets in the in the glyph? Like just one without the what? Is it a basket with a handle and one and a basket without a handle?
no, I don't. No, it's just a basket without one. And there's 2 jet pillars, which is 2 biliterals, and then there's a D underneath it. So I thought that was 1 word.
Okay. All right. I'm just listening to you all work it out. And I was looking at the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. So peace to anybody that joined in. just now. So peace, Mika. But by the way, I have the link. Let me post the link one more time because I didn't pin it, but see if it will let me. I guess it will not. So give me 1 second. I just want to post the link again. So if you're interested in coming in, by all means do so. Everyone's is welcome. Welcome. Okay, so this is the link again. Just posted it again. Okay, so let's continue. So let's find another word. Let me point to something. What is this word right here in column 6?
Raw.
Okay, that's correct. Ra.
Raw. Yeah. Raw.
All right, that is correct.
Hey, Wajau,
Yes.
next to column 7, looking at that, those 2 glyphs. Yeah.
Where,
So,
here?
yeah, next to column 7, right in the corner. Like if you go over.
The tucked in at the corner.
Yeah, tucked in the corner. I wanted to say that's dua. That looks like a hand, and like an abbreviated form of dua. And that looks like the quail chick. Yeah, gotta be, yeah. Quail chick and a hand.
Could be looking at the guy's posture too.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, right. And I was gonna say that's probably what 4 is. It's an abbreviated, sorry. Yeah, abbreviated form of dua. Is that a hand?
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, now that's and that's good that we're doing this because, like I said, this process mimics the scientific method. It's not as rigorous, as it, but the same process because you're gonna have to make assumptions, and they're not just out the blue assumptions. They're informed assumptions or guesses and things like that, hypotheses. And so then you have to test it. So you have to go to the dictionaries with what you assume and then find the word. If you find it, then there's a likely chance that you're correct. But you still can't stop there. But that's part of the process. But if you look for the word in the glyphs that you group together and you don't even find it at all, then you have to come back to the drawing board. You might have to say, well, wait a minute. I may have included too many glyphs in this word that I'm assuming is a word, and so on. So you have to be very flexible. All right. And that's how science works. You make a hypothesis, you observe things, make a hypothesis to explain what it is, then you test it, and so on, and you repeat that, and then you gradually go into a full explanation, which is a theory. A theory is explanation of a body of facts. All right. Anyway, so but yeah, that's a good starting point. That's a good thing to assume and say, but then you have to check. And so on Freestyle Friday, we're not checking, during our freestyling. So we're kind of handicapping that and as far as that goes. But that would be a good guess. Okay. And all right, so let's see what else can we dig out of this.
I know the what at the top we did ask if we had seen it, but that's something that we see a lot.
Okay, up here, let's deal with this.
So
can anybody tell me what that is?
Yeah, I see like a phrase. Oh, but I'll let the guys go at it. Go ahead.
Does anybody know?
It looked like it's I can't really make out every glyph, but I see the netter, like the axe and the flag. I see that. I see Ra, and I think I see T. I'm not sure if that's a hand. It would be D, but it would be read from right to left, so it'd be D. And what is that? I can't tell what that is above it. If that is B, and then I see Ra T and then Nether at the end. But I'm not sure if it's same. And then on the other side, I'm not sure if you're reading it from left to right, and it's the same thing. It's kind of hard for me to tell what that glyph that you're pointing at is.
Okay. So
Yeah.
again, this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was just gonna say it's symmetry. So you have like mirroring
Mhm.
of the phrase, and obviously the the writing isn't so it's not like crisp or anything, but just being familiar with that, I would recognize it as behudet Netcher. And then on the other side, it would be the same, but a slight variation of the glyph.
Okay. And that's good because that's what it's better that. Now, what I was gonna say is that again, what I said earlier is that um your your own familiarity with these kinds of things would also help you out because we see the downward wingspan of the um winged sun disk with the serpents, and we see that a lot, and we'll see this word a lot in relationship to the winged sun disk, and that is indeed behudet. All right, behudet. Okay, so let me go back to the bigger one. All right, and all right, so let's kind of go down. I'm gonna skip all of that for now. Let's let's deal with this first row right here. So again, this is freestyle. So and we're basically combining step 3 and step 4, identifying words and then getting their meanings together. So who wants to kick this off in row number 1? That's label number 1.
I can start.
Yeah, I think everybody by now, anybody who's watched our channel should definitely know the first, how this begins. But go ahead.
See Hotep D Nasut. I see T, Hotep D Nasut, and I see T, and then I see Washer or Osiris with the next 3, and then Netcher after, and then that um, water spout. I'm not sure what that is. No, I don't know what that is. So, that is. I see a T after it. B. I don't want to skip past it if somebody else wants to. If I could keep reading the ones I see.
Okay, yeah, just any ones you see in the first row.
Oh, okay. So then that the next one is that you're pointing at. I think that would be an arm with something in it. So it could be like B, T, and then let's see. I know the next one is like on the site Horus or Haru.
Okay.
And then I think there's another T. Let's see, 2 T's actually, I think. And that do not know. Oh, no. I know that sometimes, I'm not sure if that's it though. I know sometimes if you see something like that, it might let you know that it's plural, but I'm not sure if that's even what that is. Like if you saw something with like netter and then you see something like that, it could be like netter ooh or netter something like that. But I'm not even sure if that's what that is. and then I saw Netter, and then this that could be a determinative, but that's yeah, okay. So that must be the name in front of it, in front of that. But behind that, the rattle in the arm, I think it could be Ab, or it could be the rattle. I think that's I. I could be wrong, and then the arm B, so it could have something to do with the heart. I'm not really sure, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right. So that's good. I mean, that's good. And that's, that's what it's about on freestyling. But like I said, all this stuff is tentative until you confirm by actually digging in the books. But freestyle, we're not going to do that. Uh, anybody else? Anybody else want to give a run through the same row?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. So we have Hetep di Nasut, Ni Wusir, Khinti, Imintet, Netcher Ea.
Okay. One more time. Just say the whole line again.
Hetep di Nasut, Ni Wusir, Netcher. I skipped that the first time. Thank you. Netcher, Khinti, Imintet, Netcher Ea.
Okay. Now this Netcher, okay, so I'm glad you did that too. See, it's a lot of things that we could point out here. These standards, what you call a standard, people argue whether this is an axe or a flag. If you want to avoid that argument, just refer to it as a standard, because what it's actually a replica of is, like I said, it's being debated, still debated now, even still today. But it, we all understand that it represents the word Netcher, but we refer to it as a standard. All right, because for a whole nother conversation. But this one, okay, so now notice a pattern here though. So we see the standard, we see the standard right here. And then a seated deity here, Netcher, and then a seated deity. We'll see the standard here. Where else? The standard here, and so on. And even with Seer, you see the standard. So that will be some kind of clue to what's going on. And that's within this text. But then, like I said, if you jump from text to text, and stuff, and you put practice and you put time in, and you jump from text to text, you'll be able to notice something about this. But the hints would come to you from external text, just your familiarity with this style, and things. And so I just give you an example. So this right here, I can tell that this is not in the heart of Middle Egyptian or Middle Kingdom style of writing. This is going to come later. Okay, so just by, the different elements that I see. Also, the Hotep Dina suit, the way it's styled, is a kind of giveaway to the time period that we're dealing with in terms of this artifact. Okay, now I would only know that is if I'm familiar with styles other than what we're looking at, So many times on earlier styles, you would see the Hotep in between the Nesut and the D. It would be in between here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, forming that, better looking, more aesthetically pleasing rectangle. Okay, so remember that. So this right here is a giveaway, and then how they have the standard after all these things is kind of like a giveaway. All right, so
Could you also say, but looking at it, especially how they write or share that the standard could actually be the determinative sometimes used here maybe for the seated deity.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And that's why I was bringing up what I was bringing up. Yep. Okay. So I think so, Chris. I was saying that to say you were right the first time. Ni was Sir Kenti Amenti. It's Amentit. You know, there's a Y that's not shown. You know, omitted. Netcher. Okay. So what would that mean though? What does the first line mean? So we have Hotep Dina Su Ni was Sir Kenti Amentit Netcher A. What would that mean?
Peace King. It's an offering.
Okay.
And then it gives a name. I think it gives a place and then a name.
Okay, so start over. So let's try to translate this line, at least this first line. So how will we translate it?
Reading
Like
it.
just give your best translation, and we'll go.
Okay. Peace King. Is a peace. I just know Hotep Dina's food, Peace King. And then I know me Usir.
Hold up. You know, wait 1 second.
Yeah.
When you said Peace King, I thought you were saying Peace King like you know how people be greeting like Peace King. I thought you were talking to me. I didn't know you
Yeah, I thought so too.
like Peace King, but when you kept saying it, I'm like, wait a minute. But okay, so you're translating this as Peace King.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Is
I
that
thought
wrong?
you were saying Peace King like people say peace, brother. But okay.
Oh,
right.
no. Peace King. Yeah, I know Hotep Dina Su is Peace King, and I always after that it's describing the offering from a place to a person. Like that's just always the way the formula goes. So that's just kind of how I had it in my head. Peace King, here's an offering from, and usually it might have a place, but there's no place, right? I mean, there's a place, but I didn't see the X. But then you said I'm in T, and I'm like, oh, that has to be the place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Let me see. Anybody else come in? Yeah. Okay, so make sure I'm not missing anybody. All right, Zane. I don't know if Zane you could talk because most times Zane, brother Zane or brother Kadeem will pop in and listen in and everything like. But a lot of times you on third shift and sneak watching and sneak coming in. So I don't know. Are you good tonight?
Went to work early today.
Okay. Oh, so you straight tonight?
Yeah, I'm off now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Zane, because Zane, listen, every time Kadeem comes on and he kind of sneak watching, that justifies how low he sounds because it's like, all right, I'm sneaking, so guess okay, so it's Hotep Dinasu. He started whispering, but you don't have an excuse now. It's like I could barely hear you. So I don't so maybe that was your microphone the whole time. I thought you were
Yeah,
whispering.
must be on my mic sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I'll be on my Bluetooth.
Okay, all right. I thought you would try to just keep out of trouble. Um, okay, so do you want to give this a shot as far as just what you can, the first line of what translation would you have for this first line?
I just know the first line. It meant offering which the king give.
Yes.
Or what
Okay.
Hotep in the Sunni.
Okay, exactly. An offering in which the king gives. Okay, so yes. And okay, so either between Emicat or Chris. Well, Chris, you actually did the transliteration in full. So Emicat, what is your translation for this first line?
Okay, so it would be an offering in which the king gives to Wasir, foremost of the Westerners, the great god.
Okay, very good. Okay, excellent. All right, so now let's just break a couple of these words down. So that's a transliteration given in terms of Egyptology speak when we I mean in trying to pronounce the transliterations and then the translations. But let's kind of identify what's what. So we have Hotep Dinasut as a formulaic phrase that means an offering in which the king gives. Okay. And within that phrase, we know Hotep is offering, Nesut is king, D is give, to give. All right. It's short form of the word ready, which means to give. So an offering which the king gives. And then we have N, which is two. Then we have Wasir. And everyone may understand the deity to be Osiris. Then we have Kinti, which are these four, this 1, 2, 3, 4. These four glyphs. The word Kinti, or some people say Kineti, Kinti. Then we have another word that is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 glyphs as well. Excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 glyphs. And this is the word, well, Kinti means foremost. From Kent meaning the front, the four, out front. All right. And then we have Amentit, which is a place. We have the triple hill glyph. It's a place. And this is a word for west. And used in this way, it's the realm of the dead. Westerners, or to go west is to start to settle in and rest, which is the place of resting, which is the cemeteries, which is the realm of the dead. Okay, Amentit. Then we have Netcher, and then Netcher meaning, people translate it commonly as the word God or divinity or deity, etc.
Deity.
Yep. Then we have which are these two glyphs. Which is great. All right, describing the God, great God. All right, so Hotep Dinasut, Ni Wasir, Kenti Amentit, Netcher All right. And like I would go on and on and on, but like I said, I don't want to make this video too long, but because I want to kind of leave some room that if you all want to share any information or anybody on the chat wants to ask questions about this or anything. So I want to kind of open it up to an open mic, ask anything type of situation, because I feel that, we may be forced to or be compelled, compel ourselves, or I should say we're probably going to end up being inspired to start cranking up the Welcome to the Sabaid Dome series of videos where we just address claims and things that are said on social media as it relates to Kemet, the language, the culture, etc. All right. So, but I guess on these Freestyle Fridays and things, we could leave some room if anybody wants to bring up some information, anything that you've seen, any questions. So it's like a AMA, ask, or AUA, ask us anything. AUA, ask us anything type of thing. So, we could do that. But by the way, we never did talk about these figures up here. So this figure right here, notice that the glyphs are facing to the left. This figure is facing to the right, to the left, excuse me. And then these glyphs face to the right. This figure is facing to the right. So who is this right here?
Hello.
Rahul. My bad.
Oh, go ahead, say it again.
I was gonna say Harakti. Harakti.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Ra, as you see here, Ra Har Aketi. All right. Nice. And obviously, this figure here relates to these glyphs up here. So we have ireti, irti, or ireti, irti, har, falcon again, har, and then we have ru, mouth, quail chick, irti, har, ru. So this is obviously the name of this person, and this person is giving adoration to this enthroned deity.
I got a
Okay.
question.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you see the
Yes.
word there, nature.
Teal, right? Yep, a green.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dua Netcher.
Yeah, I want to say this column 7 and 5. Those indicate those are the identities of the figures.
I'm sorry. Say your question again.
Are those the name of the figures? But not the column 7 and 5. 5.
Yes. Column 7 is the name of this figure. It deals with this figure,
Mm-hmm.
and it happens to be the name. Column 6 and 5 relates to this figure, and it happens to
Okay.
be both of them the combination of the name Ra and then Haraketi.
Okay, that cancels out my second question because I was gonna ask does number 6 narrate what they're doing, or is it dialogue? But never mind.
That's part of the name. That's the deity Ra. Separately, this be the deity Ra and then Heru Aketi. But combine this Ra. Some people pronounce it alter as um Rahar Rahar Raharti Ra Har Aketi Harakti. So I'm gonna say Harakti, which is Haraket for this one. Ra Harakti. So people pronounce it differently, but it's Ra Har and then Aketi. Okay, and then
Is
this person's name. But go ahead.
that a different name than Raketti? Is that another pronunciation? Like Raketiyaman, is that sort of like Raharik? Would that be the same name, just pronounced different?
No, that name Raketi for we have our beloved Dr. Raketi Amen. Her name Raketi is a totally different word. That's the word rek, which means to know. And Raketi is a form of the word knowledge or to know, rek.
So
Like let's say,
okay.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask so for how would be like a nisbi in that sense, like pertaining to one who knows, like
Yes.
And so Raharakti, or is that what would that translate to? Like what would that mean? It's not of the two horizons. When you say Harakti?
You're close. It's Ra Har Aketsi. So Aket is the horizon. And so we got to understand Aketi means one who pertains to the horizon. And so Aketi is people think it's a dual and say two horizons, but it's actually a nisbi, or what we refer to as a relational adjective, Aketi, which means pertaining to the horizon. So Heru, who pertains to the horizon. And we have Ra,
Okay.
Heru, who pertains to the horizon.
And then sometimes will the name also translate to? Sometimes you see it as I think it's Ra in the evening or Ra in the morning or something like. Sometimes you see three different versions, right? And it's one is like hunched over, but you see the same. The hawk is used in all three. That's like one of the morning. So I guess since this is the horizon, it would be or sometimes you see the elder, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out which one. this would be.
Well, in that sense, it's different ways that that's expressed. You have Kepler, you have Ra, and then you may have Amen or whatever, or even Atem or Atum as people pronounce it. Those will represent, sometimes in some context, they represent the different stages of the life cycle. And it reflects the same stage of the daily travel of the sun. The sun rises on the left, which is Iabit, which is the east. It's at its zenith at noon, and then it sets in Amen or Amenet, which is the right hand or the west. And then it goes into the underworld. It is swallowed by Nut, and then given birth the next day, and so on. And that's another interesting point to make about the scarab beetle, Kepler. In some iconography, you will see the scarab beetle looking like it's pushing the sun, and people interpret that imagery as if the beetle is pushing the sun because this solar disk is in front of the scarab beetle. But further examination, people should realize, and they should know this now, especially if they watch our channel, because we've talked about this years ago. The scarab beetle is actually not pushing the sun, because scarab beetles don't push things with their front legs. They push those dung balls, those round dung balls. The dung beetle pushes the balls with its hind legs, its back legs. So if the scarab beetle is facing the sun, what that is implying is coming into being, because the scarab brings those dung balls into shape from its front legs and those sharp things on its mouth, its mouth and its legs. It actually shapes the circle of the ball. Then it turns around and then it pushes it with its hind legs. So when we see it in Egyptian iconography, what's reflected there, what it's telling you is that we're talking about manifestation or coming into being. All right. And so the sun comes into being every morning. It's not being pushed. So, just so everybody, as a FYI. All right.
Is it true that they only push the dung balls towards the east?
That I'm not familiar with. If they only push it towards the east, I'm not sure. So I don't have any information on that. But I do know that dung beetles are very, very interesting insects because of their compass, how they detect direction and how they can follow a certain path based on the brightness of stars and things like that. They're very, very interesting. I just, it's just been so long since I've looked at that information and looked into that. But whether they only do that stuff to the east, I'm not sure. I don't remember as far as that goes. But they're very interesting. They're very, very interesting. Dung beetles, can't sleep on. Matter of fact, what's even another interesting fact about dung beetles is that they're the strongest animal, pretty much the strongest animal on the planet, based on their body weight. Now, obviously, they're not the strongest animal, if I say that in isolation, but you know how, okay, for example, in boxing, you'll hear people describe boxers as, oh man, he's the greatest pound for pound boxer. And so it's a relative thing. They might not be the greatest, because there may be somebody that do better in a different weight class. But based on the weight class of the boxer, they may say pound for pound, man, that boxer is at the top of his game, top of the league. Well, the same way with the scarab beetle. Scarab beetle is the strongest insect based on its mass and body weight. If you were to compare its size and what it can lift, man, if a scarab beetle was the size of a human being, that scarab beetle would be able to lift a whole lot of things. Even as an insect, I forget the ratio, but look that up, look into it. It's the strongest. And yes, insects are animals. It's just that insects are a type of animal, because all animals are organic creatures that can move on their own volition. Plants, the plant kingdom and animal kingdom. The main separation between the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom is that of animation. That's why they call it animal, from animate, animation, the ability to move. Plants cannot move. Plants do not move on their own volition. The wind can blow them, but they do not move on their own. Animals do, and insects are animals, but they're insects. They're in the animated category. They can move. So I think because Mika said animal, I'm not sure if she meant, like, wait a minute, roaches are animals, fish are animals. Oh
Some of
yeah.
them look like plants though. That's the funny thing.
Say it again.
I said some of them look like plants though.
Look like plants.
Yeah, the insects.
Oh yeah. That's evolutionary pressures that's gonna keep them alive. Camouflage. What's that? The praying mantis. Certain grasshoppers and praying mantis can look like twigs of a stick and tree, and look like
Yeah,
leaves and everything.
moths too.
Yeah,
They can look like sticks.
yeah.
There's
They have.
certain okay. There's certain. I think there's an octopus or a squid that lives for like over 100 years. There's certain just because of their blending and adapting and being able to be camouflage and stuff like that.
Right. The ability. Nature is wonderful, man. We don't know the half about nature. We no longer we rely on nature channels instead of just seeing things on our own. People don't travel. They travel to go on vacation, but not really to study that stuff. But it's wonderful. I get hooked on National Geographic documentaries, and listen,
Yeah,
I
same
sit
here.
there and I sit in awe and amazement at how they capture the video footage, especially the video footage where they follow animals around. They follow them all into their homes and into their tunnels under the ground and stuff. I'm like, where they get the camera work and the people's patience. You know how patient you have to be to follow an animal and wait for it to do something, wait for it to come out of his home, its little hole, and all that kind of stuff. Then all the underwater footage. I'm telling you, people sleep, and people need to really tip their hat to those folks, whoever they are, that film that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, for real, that's some amazing photography, some amazing work. That's amazing. And I never forget that. Like, I look at it and I remind myself, man, that's some good footage to catch the moment that a lion is gonna attack a gazelle, the moment that animals give birth, the moment that an insect crawls out of the underground tunnel and all that kind of stuff. You know how hard it is to follow birds?
Oh
That's
yeah, I
crazy.
tried. I tried.
Yeah. So yeah, but anything else? So I'm gonna post this link one more time. I'm trying to see if anybody else want to come in and chime in on any of the conversation. Right now,
We have
we
some
just
questions on the chat though.
okay. There was some questions? I missed them.
Yeah, let me go back. So we had the first question was from Boom, and she guessing he was asking how long does it take to learn this, and if I went hard on it for about 3 months, would I be able to read individual words? I'm planning to learn because relying on other people for info is getting whack.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay, excellent question. Well, let me tell you from experience. At a beginner's level, and by beginner's level, what I mean is, well, let me back up. Uh, this study of this language is made up of two main parts. One is to study the writing system, which everybody knows as hieroglyphic, but it is indigenously referred to as Sesh, Medew, Netcher. That is what the hieroglyphs are called. Okay, Sesh, Medew, Netcher. That is the writing system. So you have to study that first. Then you move over into the morphology and syntax of the language itself, and that's grammar. Okay, and so at a beginner's level, the goal of the beginner's level is to learn the writing system and maybe a tad bit of the grammar that you're going to need. And so the most time at a beginner's level is to become competent and proficient in the writing system, to know what the glyphs are, to know how they function, to know the scribal canons and standards of how they wrote, and then um, to be able to identify the glyphs and how the writing system works in and of itself. That's like the main focus of a beginner's level. And the way we do it, that's 12 weeks. So 12 weeks is 3 months. Okay. So in 90 days, you should be able, you should have the tools at that point to be able to transliterate simple inscriptions. Okay. And that's what our study course is all about. The 12-week study course that we have on Stable University will get you there in 90 days. You will be able to transliterate and translate simple inscriptions. All right. And then after that, you, as a matter of fact, as I'm saying all this stuff, let me just post, let me just share our curriculum. So as I'm saying this, I could just refer to this curriculum here. This is our curriculum. When I say our, this is the Scribal Institution curriculum. Our full curriculum. It consists of 3 levels, and at each level is 3 stages. So there's 9 stages in all. Stage 1 of level 1 at the very bottom is what I just said. It's the foundation in Rodney Kemet and Sesh, Medew, Netcher. That foundation is to understand the writing system. Okay, the glyphs. What are they? They're actually pictographs. All of the glyphs are pictographs, which means they are pictures of something. And that something would be the flora and fauna and even man-made objects that are familiar in the Nile Valley and Delta area. So you're not going to see a tiger glyph because tigers did not live in the Nile Valley. You're not going to see a polar bear glyph because polar bears did not exist in the Nile Valley. So you're going to see plants, animals, and man-made objects that are indigenous to that area. And the glyphs are pictographs. They're pictures of those items. That's what they are. Now, how they function can be in one of 3 different ways, either as a phonograph, which means they represent a consonant or multiple consonant sounds, etc. The glyphs can function as a logograph, which means it can represent an entire word, or it functions as a what we call a semanteme, indicating the meaning, which is nicknamed determinative. Okay, so it can function as determinative to help determine meanings of words. Those are the 3 primary functions of all of the glyphs. All right, so you learn about all that good stuff. Then you have to learn, be more intimate with the glyphs and know how they're transliterated. How do you document the glyphs? And then you learn about 2 transliteration systems that are in use: the diacritic system, manual decodage. Okay. And you get through all that stuff. Then you have to learn the aesthetics of the glyphs. How are the glyphs grouped? How are they stacked? We have 3 basic categories of glyphs according to their shapes: tall and narrow, low and wide, or small. Tall and narrow glyphs tend to stand on their own. Low and wide glyphs usually stack. Small glyphs usually stack in 1/4 of a quadrant. And you learn about all that good stuff at the beginner's level. So anyway, in summary, 12 weeks is what it takes. Three months, and you're good to go at a beginner's level. Then from there, you move and you start a more rigorous study of the grammar, and that is morphology and syntax. Some people refer to it as morphosyntax or collectively as grammar. And so you study the grammar, and the grammar is not hard, but it's complex. It's has a lot of moving aspects to it. And the most complex part of the grammar would be its verbal system. Okay. So a grammar study is longer than 12 weeks. Okay. 12 weeks is a beginner's level, but the grammar, it will take you longer. The verbal system alone is about the equivalent of of a beginner's level in terms of time. So there's a lot to deal with in the grammar level. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. But all of that is on stage 1 is the beginner's level. Stage 2 that you see here, I know you can't see my cursor, but level 1, stage 2 is the grammar. And along with the grammar, you learn penmanship. You learn how to draw or write the glyphs. Okay, so that's what you see on the screen. All right, so hopefully now we offer classes, and matter of fact, I'm forming the way our classes work is that it's self-paced. That means that you can study at your own pace on your own time. That's the way it's designed. But with that, we have weekly live sessions, 2 hours long, where we go sequentially through the chapters and answer any questions, clarify anything, give examples, and the whole nine. All right. And so that live session grouping is what we just started another group. So we're in the process of forming a new group. So if you're interested in studying, sign up, register. The links are in the description of these videos. Okay, it's sableuniversity.com. That's the website. Okay. Did I miss anything?
So if I have my book, if I order a book, would it be better for me to order the book on like Amazon and then register? I got the email from you.
Well, if you register for the class, it comes with the book. So now if you already have the book, then the class is discounted minus the book. But if you go there and you register regularly, it comes with the book. And just so everybody know, the class only costs $100. All right. That's the cheapest I've seen a beginner's class on the internet, period. Everybody else, everywhere else is it costs more. All right. The book is $30. So together it's $130. But the course itself is just $100 for the beginners. Now the grammar is a different story, but the beginners is only $100, 90 days. It's 12 weeks because we have 12 sessions, 12 live sessions. But listen, you can buy the book. I mean, you can register for the class and get the book and the class and go at your own pace, and you could learn it in a week. If you go hard and go through the book, you can actually learn it in a week. Now, how you know that you're proficient is because the class is designed to test your knowledge. So we have quizzes, online quizzes. You can take the quiz anytime. They're online quizzes that test you after each chapter. And you can't go to the next chapter until you pass the one you're on. So it's designed as a self-paced, self-learning class. So when I say 12 weeks, I'm only talking really about the live sessions. That's what you get included with the course. You get 12 live sessions once a week, which is 12 weeks. But like I said, it's self-paced. So you can listen, you can learn in a day. I would strongly not advise people to try to learn it in a day, but technically you could learn it in a day. If you're that good and you're that you're that focused and disciplined. I mean, yeah. But anyway, within 12 weeks, you're straight. All right. So hopefully I fully answered that question. All right. So yeah, so listen, we have classes. So sign up, and we have these live sessions. Anybody who's ever signed up, past or present, they are all welcome to the live sessions. And so I would like to see more people take this study serious. You have people that will take, study as a bucket list thing, something to do, and that's fine too. But I'm more interested in people who will take it serious so that we can do some other things. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, yep. As a matter of fact, I don't know, Emiket, if you could post the actual link into the chat, that would be good. But it's in the description. I mean, the actual link to the beginners course specifically. It's oh, go ahead, because I forgot I was going to say at that point. Was there any other questions? Because I missed that one.
Yeah, there was a couple, but yeah, I just put the link. I was just saying that the good thing about this, and if everybody knows me, I'm always on most of the beginners classes. So the good thing is, like, once you finish, and because there's ongoing sessions and classes, you could always hop on any other class and just, if there's some things that you just want to, go over one more time, you always get that opportunity. So, it's not just like you pay and then you learn and then that's it. So it's continuous, and you can always keep improving yourself. So I think that's good that, there's that community, and then, there's always that opportunity to go over stuff one more time or 10 more times.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yes. So were there any other questions that I may have missed? Now I'm gonna post the link one more time. I mean, since we kind of having a dialogue, we keep this up. It's Friday night. I don't party. Okay, say it again.
I got a question about the image. I was looking at before we switched off.
Okay. All right. Let me put that back up. All right. So you tell me where to go.
On the right.
Okay.
The image of the deity. Right. No, on the right. Okay. On the right side of the screen. Yeah. Okay. Now looking at that, I'm gonna use the word "look like." That looks like Osiris.
Yeah. Yep.
But the name in 2 is not Osiris.
And you're right. Yep. And so
what's that again? I missed.
That deity, that's Osiris, right? He got the green skin.
Yeah. Okay.
Double crown, the X on his chest.
Yeah.
But the name there is not Osiris.
Mm-mm.
Is that some kind of late Egyptian thing?
Well, yes and no. Yes part is that there were a tendency to combine. There was like this unifying of principles in terms, or abbreviated. And then no, because of the style of the method of how they wrote and things. So now Atum, Atum or Timu in a regular form is do you this okay, how is Atum represented? Timu. Usually, like when you see a figure and okay, that is Atum.
When he's represented as a man, he normally has the crown with the 2 plumes on it, right?
I'm trying to picture
the tall crown with 2 plumes. People used to say that
like
those were Moses tablets.
Uh-huh.
It kind of looked like what the Pope wears. Yeah.
But he has a beard, the divine beard and everything. But not mummified though. Like one thing we can agree is that Atum is not mummified when we see Atum.
No. No.
Mhm.
or whatever. So that, I mean, that's an interesting observation, but we clearly see that in the glyphs, this is Timu or Atum
Or the
here. And then this person, obviously that's reflecting their name again.
two.
Yeah, that's a good example why you can't ignore the glyphs.
Mhm.
Heru. That looks like on the surface, this looks like the word weret, the where word we call it where, and then the bread loaf weret, but it's actually not. And again, I'm going to keep stressing this: when you're doing this, you got to be flexible. You got to be disciplined, humble, and flexible, and honest with yourself. This is ireti, and then hair, and then that's a open mouth, and then the quail chick and the plural stroke determinative, or excuse me, the three stroke determinative.
See, I thought that was a bread loaf.
Um,
So yeah, it's an open mouth.
Yeah, see, because on the first part, I would probably say ireti and then weretu or something like that, you know.
or that two, etc. But when you compare it on this side, you see the same name, but it's different.
Yeah,
It's
two.
iriti har ru.
So my question is, according to like what Emma Kit was saying, are they symmetrical in the function, like from what their names?
Their name, you mean the two deities here?
Yeah, like no, like the columns and what they read. Do they function in the
Oh,
same way as their naming?
um, no, because see, okay, no. If I understand what you're asking, no, symmetry deals with like, I guess another word that we could use or should use is mirroring. So, like
Yeah,
for example, the portion that we were looking at, this is um equally symmetrical on both sides, but it mirrors. So we have behudet and behudet in two
mm-hmm.
different directions, and you'll see that a lot in the centerpiece, where like as far as a different example, where you'll see an unk in the middle and then some text to the right of it and then some text to the left of it, but the unk applies to both sides, but it sits in the middle.
No.
And that would be symmetrical, or it'll be mirrored text. Let me see, this one I have it. No, that one didn't have it, but you usually see it on these round shaped. Let's see if this one has it. Um, this one may be mirrored. This text, all three of these columns may be the mirror of these three columns with the wing sun disk, um, with the cobras and the unk wrapped around their necks, being a symmetrical in the center.
No, no. What I kind of like specifically meant was like the format in which they're uh they're naming the deities. Like on the one side, that would be Hieroglyphic, and then you said on the other side would be Tune. But I'm trying to see like those as the glyphs. Does that what the glyphs read for each deity in the column of the rows for like 7, 5, 6, and
Okay, let
two,
me.
three, four.
I was trying to pull up, see if I had something, another example, but let's pull that up. So you were saying again, I'm sorry, just repeat it. You said in
For 7, 6, and 5, and 2, 3, 4. Those are those symmetrical as into they're naming the deities.
no, because as you can see, this side has an extra bar on the column that this side doesn't have. So if you count these bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars, this side has more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars. And so they had to actually they ran out of room and had to write the other glyphs outside of the columnar borders.
Mhm.
And so no, so you have two columns for this person, whereas over here you have one, but it's and a spillover. So in
Okay.
that sense, and so this has two columns for the deity. This has one column for the deity. So it's not symmetrical in that sense at all. But you
Okay,
know,
that's good.
yeah, there's some symmetry in terms of you got a deity right here, then a deity mirrored over there, but they're two different ones. You got the person, etc. There's nothing at the bottom. Yeah. All right. So that's I was trying to find one that is like symmetrical that I actually use to explain the symmetry, and I don't seem to be able to find it real. Oh, I think here it is right here. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. Now we've done this one in the past. And so notice, let me get my trusty arrow. Okay, so notice in the upper left corner, number one, we have Behudeti again. Behudet, Netcher A.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Now over here, this is damaged, but because this is written symmetrically or mirrored, we know that this over here was repeated over here, the exact same thing. So what you see here is all was also over here at one point. It got damaged and it's no longer there. Notice the mirroring of the name, the Heru name of this particular king. It's the same on the left as it is on the right. Okay, so we have
Honestly,
Heru. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say honestly, one or two things that's not symmetrical, like the vulture
Yeah.
and the
Now,
snake. I mean the cobra.
so okay, so this Shanu is in the middle. Then we have a repeat of DS, DS, then Unkwas, Unkwas. But the difference is, see how symmetrical that is? And those are alike, exactly like D, D, S, S, Unk, Unk, Was, Was. Well,
Hmm.
what differs is we have the sedge and then the water lily in the middle. So they're both of them are plants, but they're different plants. One represents upper Kemet, which is over here, and the other one represents lower Kemet, which is over here. So we have, and then
Hmm.
the basket, same thing. But on top of the basket, we have two different deities. We have Wajet and Nekibet. Combined, they are Nepti, which is the two ladies. And so this is the two lady name of this king. This is Nisut Biti name of this king. This is the throne name. You have Nisut Biti. Okay.
It's like you can identify the group between 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Yeah, when you is that like noticing how different those are? That's like you can notice that as a group.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like if you look at this whole artifact as a whole, you'll see some balancing symmetry going on
Hmm.
overall, but then in the details, you'll see some slight differences. So like that's what I was saying. So we have a plant, but they're two different plants. You have the same name, but you have two different deities on top of the basket and things like that. And then at the bottom, you have the Ankh, but then you have Mary facing the opposite directions. Mary. And then up here you have Wajet with her name spelled out. Um, and then you have the city, which she is involved with, which is P or Butu. Then you have Nekibet and the city that she is a patron of, which is Nekhen.
Hmm. Are those
But
X's? Those are
this is
location marks, right?
the name. Say it again.
The 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 circles with the X's in them. Those are
Yeah,
their locations, right?
right. These are these are determinatives for place names. So these are toponymic determinatives. So these are place names. Toponyms are place names. Always remember that. Toponyms refer to places. They never refer to people.
Right.
For the life of me, I don't see why there's certain people who do not grasp that concept. Toponyms are place names, which means they refer to places and never people. Ever. They would not be called place name or toponym if they refer to people, refer to places. But then you have Satuk in both places. And then Neb or Nubit, which is a place. This place right here specifically, let me just say this since I brought this up. This deity is the patron deity of this place, Nubit. This is Nubit. The people who lived in this city place are your Nubians, who are Egyptians. They happen to be, if we wanted to like make the name like how we do other words, Nubites. So people say Kemites. These would be Nubites or Nubians, dwellers or people who lived or reside in Nubit. And if we brought that word up today, it would be Nubia. Not Nubia that the scholars will have us believe is south of Kemet, which was never called Nubia. That was called Ta-Nehisi. But that starts the confusion, because if you talk about Nubians, the real Nubians are Egyptians. The Nubians that people call Nubians are really the Nehisu. They were not called Nubians. That's a modern switch up that causes a whole lot of confusion. I just thought I'd say that while I'm looking at this right here. Archaeologically, this place, Nubit, is called Nakata. And if you look it up today on Wikipedia or wherever, just look up Kom Ombo or Ombos. Same. These are two cities. Kom Ombo is a city and Ombos is a city. Both of them in ancient times were called Nubit. Nub. That's where gold was. The gold, near gold settlements, gold mining, and so on and so forth. All right. So just figure out, let people know that. Then we have the Heru name. We have Heru, Kaneket, Meri Ma'at. Ma'at is written first because of what? Emiket?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I just heard you call my name.
Yeah, I said this name here, Heru Kaneket Meri Ma'at. But Ma'at is written first because of what? What is that called?
Honorific transposition.
Okay, honorific transposition. Exactly.
Transportation.
I know.
Yeah, every time I think of that, I think of a U-Haul truck. Honorific transportation. Goodness. Okay, so that's that. But are there any more questions? Boy, I don't know. I'm gonna see. Did anybody else pop in here?
No, but we have questions.
I don't know if I hope people are not intimidated or whatever. Maybe people, I don't know. But, I see other YouTube channels where people be begging to get in and to talk or to call in.
Right?
Yeah. I barely know anything.
Maybe
I don't know. They probably know more than me.
They be begging to get in and call in and stuff, and call in. The phones be lit off the hook. But I'm up here giving out the link and can't get anybody in here. That's crazy. But were the other questions or anything?
Yeah, there was another question from Boom, and it said, if I can ask two more questions, which tombs have the table of nations, races known by the ancient Egyptians? That's the first question. And why were the Ptolemies also depicted in reddish brown on the wall art?
Okay, very good question. So repeat the first one though for me, please.
All right. Okay. So, which tombs have the table of nations or races known by the ancient Egyptians?
Okay. All right. So let's start with that one.
Mhm.
The so-called table of nations, that's not really, I mean, that's a nickname for that. And I don't really encourage people to use that table of nations though, because it has other implications with that. But I know what you're talking about. So the table of nations, it's in the fifth, excuse me, the fourth division or the fifth hour of the book of Gates. Okay, that's the text. What people are calling the table of nations, it's actually a text. And the whole text is called the book of Gates. Now, obviously, that's a modern name for it, but that's the text, the book of Gates. The specific spot in the text, that the text is called the book of Gates because it has 12 gates of the underworld that a person has to travel through. And so each section is a gate. So we're talking about the fifth hour of, I said 12 gates, 12 hours as well. In the fifth hour is the quote unquote table of nations. Okay. So now to answer your question, it's in the tomb of Seti the first, it's in the tomb of Merneptah, and it's in the tomb of Ramses the third. Three. Okay. A lot of people will talk about it and show you pictures only from the tomb of Ramses the third because of an abnormality in the artwork where they replicated the Nahisi group and replicated four more of them and identified them as the Remech as well. And so people use that to say, hey, the Remech saw themselves exactly like the Nubians. And that's just not true. All right. So that's the answer to your question. What was the second question?
Okay, let me go back to it. So the second question was, and why were the Ptolemies also depicted in reddish brown on the wall art?
Okay. Let me just share because I have a motto: demonstration beats conversation, and so I like to show things as I talk about it. So give me 1 second to show as I'm talking about these things real quick. Okay. So this is the tomb of Seti the first. Okay. So Seti the first has this. Now, this is on the left, this is a reproduction, a remake of it. In the tomb itself, um, these 16 figures, and the 15th is Heru himself. Like this is the deity Heru, and then you have 16 figures, four sets of four. In the tomb itself, um, they're not on top of each other like this. They're actually in a long row. Okay, so that's number one. I just want to make sure people, understand what we're looking at. On the right over here is an actual picture of it, okay, of how it looks, and it's damaged. Okay, so some of it's damaged. The paint is actually missing. Some of it's actually damaged. The stone itself is damaged. You can see right in between Heru and um one of the figures here. It fell away. The plaster or whatever fell away. Okay, so this is the tomb of Seti first. I just wanted to show that to give you an example of that. Now, but back to the question that was just asked, why were the Ptolemies depicted? Ask the question again.
Okay, let me go back. Why were the Ptolemies also depicted in reddish brown on the wall art?
Okay, here is a picture of Ptolemy. Okay, so this is exactly what you're asking about because the king here get my trusty arrow. The king here, right here, is Ptolemy. How do we know this is Ptolemy? Easy, because we look in the Shinu, the Sarah name, we see the name Ptolemaeus, or his name would be Ptolemy or Ptolemaeus in Greek, but you see Ptolemy. Okay, here, which is Medi Ptah. The name that you see right here in the Shinu, and let me just do something to blow this up. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna blow it up here so we can really see it.
That's
At least
Amun.
see what I'm talking about here. All right, so let's blow this up here. Let's see how big I can get this.
Could be.
Okay. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. So this is Ptolemy. In the Shinu, we see the name. We see Ptolmys. Ptolemies. All right. Medi Ptah Ankjet. So this is his name. That's how we know who this king is. So when we look at the king, the question is, why did the ancient Egyptians paint the Ptolemies with the same reddish brown pigment that they use for themselves? And the answer is very simple, that in Kemet, in all of its 3,000 plus years of existence, the scribes and the artisans, they had a scribal and art canon or standard that they consistently used. They had a range of pigments that they used to represent different things. So these were not literal pigments and things. These were stylized and canonized methods of representations. All right. So, for example, we know that all the women did not have yellow skin. Literally, we know that all the men did not have the exact same skin color, literally, but there's a range that was standardized in the artwork that represented all of that good stuff. And so, because he was king, the artisans and scribes, they followed the same standards and painted the king with that color. All right. So just want everyone to understand that. Now, this is something else that people need to know. Let me see who's in the chat though, because before I say this, I gotta see who I'm talking to. Who am I talking to? No. Here's something else that people have to understand. Okay. The ancient Egyptians, they called themselves the Remich. The word Remich means people, the people. And if you go around the world, a lot of indigenous names that people call themselves can be translated as people. The word people. You know, there's nothing really that stick out or special with that, because they saw themselves as the people. Um, so the word Remich is the people, but that word has a cosmological derivation to it conceptually. And that is, if you read a book called The Book of Knowing the Transformations of Ra and Overthrowing a Pep, that book right there, that's called that today. Obviously, it wasn't called that in ancient times. Or the opening line is just that, The Book of Knowing the Transformations of Ra and Overthrowing the Pep. If you read that book has a creation story or a cosmological or cosmogonical story in it. And in that story, human beings are produced by the tears of Ra. Okay, so human beings are a result of Ra crying. And from his tears came human beings. The word for cry or tears is the Egyptian word Remi. And there's actually a deity by the name of Remi. So that was deified. Remi is a deity as well. Ra cries and thus produce human beings. And so Remi and Remech, there's a punning or play on that. Okay. So that's their cosmogonical name that became their ethnicity, their ethnic name, the Remech. When the kingdom of Kemet became the kingdom of Kemet, after from 11th dynasty onward into the more into the future, the people who inhabited the kingdom could rightfully be called Kemetiu, which means those who pertain or belong to Kemet, the kingdom, the place. And so you have a national personification or a national concept, and then you have an ethnic, more ethnic or cosmological concept, all there at the same time. And so I want you to notice something. And I'm not sure if any of you all may have heard this before or not, because I don't claim to be the only one that says this or anything. But I always share this. Is that, let me pull out my trusty arrow again. Notice that his skin color is what represents the pigment used to paint his skin color. Now we know that Ptolemies were not this color literally, so this is not literal. But the pigment used to represent it is the same pigment used to represent the sun. Okay. So let that marinate for a second. The Remage are a product of the sun, the tears of the sun. The Remage in artwork are represented by the pigmentation that is used for the sun. Okay. In case people wanted to know. Now, this exact pigmentation, just to be very, very clear, is that Egypt lasted over 3,000 years. So obviously the artists were not alive. You don't have one set of artists that stayed alive for those 3,000 years. People were born, they became professional artists, and they died throughout the history of Kemet. And so what that means as well is that you didn't have a bunch of artists make a batch of pigment, like this big old bucket of pigment that all artists used throughout all of Egypt's history. So the batches had a certain recipe to make it, but they weren't all the exact same. So you're going to see variations in these colors depending on where in Kemet and depending on what era of time. Okay. That's one thing we have to keep in mind as well. And so let me show something else. So let me get rid of this one because I don't. Okay. So let me show something else, and I hope I have it here to show. Okay, let's look at this one. Now, the reason why I had these pictures together is for another reason, but I'm going to use it to demonstrate what I'm about to say right now. Now, notice that this skin, this pigment used to represent the skin, is the same as this color as well. So the same batch of pigment that they were using to paint this is the same batch they dipped in to paint this. The sun matches the skin. Now let me go back to the Ptolemy again. The Ptolemy image. Oh, let's go to this one. Well, no, it's not a picture of the sun. Where's my Ptolemy? Ptolemy. So look at it again. The skin, it matches the picture of the sun. The same part of the sun. Even though between the two pictures that I just showed you, they're different shades. As a matter of fact, let me just do this. Let's put them side by side. Where were we? Right here. For the purpose of demonstrating this. So notice that this is not the exact same pigment as this. As the one over here. But between this and this, they match. Between this, I can't even, my arrow is going behind it. But between this and this, they match. This color matches this color. This color matches this color. But between the two figures, they don't match exactly. All right. So what's my point? My point is that when you look at these artworks, if there are images of the sun in the artwork, just check out the pigments that are used for the sun, and if any figures are in there, the figures for the skin. Okay, just be mindful of that. All right. So anyway, hopefully I answered that question. What are the other questions?
Basically, like they only use colors for coding, not for race people.
Say it again.
So they use color bases for coding, and the standard of what they were using it for. They wasn't just using it for race, wasn't it?
Um, yeah, you kind of breaking up, so I wasn't sure what.
No, I said the color was used for code. It was a color code, not a way of showing any race or nothing like that.
Right, right. The Egyptians didn't have in their consciousness our modern constructs of race, our modern social construct of race. It did not exist in the consciousness of the Egyptians or the ancient world. Period. They didn't have, obviously, the social construct of race that we have today is new. It's modern. It's new. They didn't base things on skin color. Like their
Yeah,
distinctions where we have color is king, race is king. In the past, it was culture is king. Culture is king. Your culture, what makes you distinct, you know. So whatever elements in the culture that can make you stand out and distinguished from another culture is what they use to represent a particular culture. So it's the clothing, the dress, how it's dressed, and so on and so forth. So that's it. I could show this picture. This is a you see these differences here of different people. These are different groups of people. You had the Keftiu, which are Crete. You have the Naharian, which is the Syrian. You have the Shasu, the Bedouins, the Chehinu, which are Libyans. You have the Singer, which is the Babylonians. You have the Kash or Kush, people from Kush, Kushites, and so on. Different. Look at the dress. Different. Look at the dress. Look at the shoes here. Different. So they use whatever they could to identify a distinction between people. All right. So everyone needs to keep all of these things in mind when they're discussing these things. All right. So just
yeah. I
want
never
to
seen them other figures around before. Just
say it
that.
again.
I said we never seen those other figures around much before. You just mostly see those black ones.
Oh,
Not
right, right,
black
right.
ones. They only show that one and talk about that.
Well, these six images I have here, they come from this throne stool here. Okay. And these are the 9 bows. If you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm sure everybody heard the term the 9 bows. The 9 bows is a collective umbrella term for the uh foes or enemies of Kemet. And the 9 that compose the 9 individual groups of people that are labeled that may swap and change out. Sometimes even Egyptians themselves were part of that 9 bows. Okay. So it does not
That's
necessarily always mean foreign enemies, but enemies, basically enemies of the state or however you want to word it. But this is an example of the 9 bows. People hear that term, Pasejet, which are 9 bows. Pasej. Pej Pasejet. Okay. So I'm just showing some examples of
yeah, Mika said secure Ankh.
oh, Saker Unk. these are Sakeru Unk, huh? These are prisoners of war. Sakeru Unk. Sakeru Unk. Sakeru Unk. That seems to be a hot topic right now. Sakeru Unk. And people believe. Oh, let me just show this picture real quick before I talk about Sakeru Unk. I want to show this picture. This is from the 12th dynasty. This is a 12th dynasty tomb. And I want you all to pay attention to the pigments used to color these figures here. And I want you to notice how they alternate. So we have a certain pigment color here. Then we have a slightly darker pigment for this figure. And then we're back to the lighter one, then the darker one, then the lighter one, darker one. Now, as an artistic canon, there's another canonized rule in the in the artwork of ancient Kemet. They did this for a reason, and that reason is to show plentiful, to show a crowd. So whenever you see large scenes with a lot of figures, you're gonna see the colors alternate to reflect a crowd, a large group. So even though you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is one in front of this, 6 individuals, this is supposed to represent a large group. And they alternated the colors to let you know that that's a large group. All right, so that's another FYI or a jewel that I'll just share with you all
That's like
of
shadow
why they did
cast.
that. Say it again.
No, that's like shadow casting.
Okay, now I'm not familiar with that term
And
though.
I'm saying like in a crowd, like they're giving the artistic view that other people's shadows could, go over reflect on people in the crowd.
Okay, right. I see what you're saying. That's like a modern technique of showing a large crowd. But
Hmm.
this is what they did. They alternated the two between the two. All right, so you can see a
Yeah.
lot of people here and so on. So I just wanted to share that. So what was the other one? Somebody was about to say something or Sekeru Unk.
I wanted to say something before you get to Sekiro Unc.
Okay.
About that, and I could be wrong. I wanted to know about the word Deseret means red, right?
Yes, the share. The word the share means red.
Desher. So
Mhm.
what is Desh? It's a word Deseret too, right?
Yes, Deshret is usually the word used for the desert.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Like it gives a does certain colors give location, not location, but a direction in on the map.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Not directly, but like for example, the Mediterranean Sea that we call it that today, the Mediterranean Sea was called green
Hmm.
by the ancient Egyptians. It was green. They call it
Yeah, like I
wedged
thought.
ware, which means the great green. The desert has the word desheret, and you hear that word desher in there, which will imply red.
Yeah, I thought it would mean the West or something like that.
No, but see, here's the thing. The contrary to what a lot of people believe, and that belief is based on the traumatic pushback on scholastic racism and things and trying to push the
Hmm.
blackness of the skin color of Egyptians and so on and so forth. Um, Desher is the color red, but the root denotation of that is dryness. It comes out of the concept of dryness, and the word kemet, comes out of the connotation of wetness. Okay, so shu, the share shu, you can find out that it deals with dryness, arid. Like a desert is arid, it's very dry.
Hmm.
Then you have where there's access to water, there is wetness there. And so the
Yeah,
color, the psyche, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but did they mark those people black?
Say it again.
Did they paint those people black who were in those wet regions?
No, no, they didn't.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I mean. See, the skin color is a modern, that's a modern noisy argument that's really,
Yeah,
irrelevant and just a waste of time. So,
yeah.
but what I'm
I'm not
saying,
trying to denote it as to that. I'm just trying to see those what the pigmentations of the characters do they give a location to where those people are they speaking of. That's all.
no. They didn't draw different color people based on where they were. Nah, not at all. The like I
Okay.
said, the national canon, the artistic national canon was set for the entire, pretty much the entire kingdom. You can go from north to south and east to west and look at the artwork and see how they didn't differentiate because of where they were. You have slight differences in era of time, like in the Middle Kingdom stretch of time versus the Late Kingdom versus the Old Kingdom and so on. You have different stylizations for those periods, but in the bigger picture of things, they're very, very similar. And so within any era of time, they had a standard. Same way with the glyphs. Think about it. Um, Ancient Egypt or Kemet is a very large square miles of area. And imagine if every scribe drew the glyphs or carved the glyphs differently from each other. We would see so many different styles, but no, they're very, very close. Now we can look, if you study this enough, you can tell what's Old Kingdom. Like I have one on the screen. I think I took it off. Um the one I had on the screen, you can tell that it's Old Kingdom because of how they carve the body proportions and how the glyphs are carved. And then you can tell certain things that are in the Middle Kingdom era, and then some things that are in the Late Kingdom era. You can just tell that by doing some studies, putting your eyes on it for a long time. You can just tell the difference. But overall, they're very, very, very close. The way things were done. Um, Very rarely did they break away, like completely break away from a canon, a standard. And so no, it didn't draw people based on different where they were located in Kemet, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But what I was getting to, what I was saying though, is wetness versus dryness was an important thing in the psychology and the consciousness of the people because that depended on food resources and sources, survivability. Where there was water or access to it, you can live. Where there's access to no water and dryness, it's a less likely chance for you to live and thrive. So the desert areas became troublesome and was associated with negative connotations.
Mhm.
So foreigners coming to cause trouble or being enemies or invade and so on and so forth, they were seen as those desert folks because in the desert is chaos, it's confusion, it's dryness, it's arid, you can't live. And so Satuk, the deity of the desert, became the deity of chaos and confusion and so on and so forth. So Satuk is seen as a negative thing in some context. And then you have the wet areas, the wetlands, the wet areas. And think about this. If you have let's pick a color. Let's say you have a royal blue shirt on. It's blue, it's royal blue. You got it on. It's a short sleeve shirt. You got it on. If somebody were to throw a bucket of water on you in your shirt, that royal blue shirt, will it get lighter or will it get darker by being wet?
Darker.
Darker.
Exactly. Wetness implies darker. Dryness implies lighter. Because when you put water on any substance, it's going to get darker. You put it on the concrete. Like whenever it rains, you look at the street, look at the road. The road is asphalt pavement, and it looks like this blackish gray and stuff like that. But when you go outside after it rain, the street looks dark. It's dark. But like I said, the root concept is wetness for that side, and then dryness for the other side. And that's the dichotomy: wetness versus dryness. Not some social concepts of race. Okay, you got black and you got red or this and that. Nah, it wasn't about that. Wasn't about that at all. Why would you have a river culture, people who relied on the flooding and swelling of the river to survive, be preoccupied or not be preoccupied with water? I mean, you have people who are professional canal diggers, irrigators. They irrigated. They had to channel water so that water will last and things. Because it didn't really rain like that.
Yeah,
It rained, it rained. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I was gonna say that's what they taught us in school, how irrigation systems were built through Egyptians. That was a high school lesson.
So everybody can see who's talking. Yeah, irrigation channels. The glyphs. They're glyphs that are actually irrigation channels that represent irrigation channels. You got tools for irrigation. You got irrigation channels. You got tools for farming. You got the hoe. All of those things.
Mm-hmm.
That was the lifeline. And the Nile was the lifeline. So the Nile, it was all about the Nile. The happy Itaru was all about the Nile. All about that Nile and what it produced. The Nile actually sa'unk the Rimage people. Sa'unk means enliven. It was the Nile that enlivened the people. When it swells up, we call it a flood. When it inundates, it is providing for the people. And then when the waters diminish and comes back down, they're able to do what they need to do. Survive and thrive and prosper. If it was a drought, they were in trouble. Okay, so I don't know what's going on in the chat, but let's see what's going on in the chat. Any other questions?
Yeah, what was up with the secure?
Oh, Sekra Ankh.
Yeah. What's up with it?
Oh, okay. So Sekir Ankh is well, that's like a hot topic right now because it's been brought up. Well, not that by itself, but it's the topic of slavery and Kemet is a hot topic right now. It's been a topic. It's like a recycling of a topic, and I've sit back. I sit and watch these topics pop up. Like they pop their head up and then they fade out in the darkness. Then they pop up again, fade away, pop up, fade away. And usually when it pops up, it's done by a new set of people, And every time these topics pop up, it sort of seems like it pops up for the first time, but it doesn't. Just on Facebook alone, I've been on Facebook since 2010. And these arguments have been going on since then. And so here we are, 2021. That's 11 years. So I've been on Facebook for 11 years, and I've seen these topics come and go, come and go, come and go. Early in the years, me and a few other of my colleagues, we would address these topics. But man, they keep popping up. It's like, man, they, This stuff was already addressed. But when it pops up, it's made to seem like a very big deal. And for those of us who watch it pop up and fade and pop up and fade, it's just weird because it's not a big deal. It's these are things that are old, you know, that were already talked about and so on and so forth. So anyway, back to Sakir Unk. Slavery, forms of slavery existed pretty much around the world, um, in more cultures than not. Okay, so let's start there as far as slavery itself, forms of slavery. So you have different types and forms of slavery, and those types and forms do overlap. There's a lot of overlapping of how slavery was practiced or done in various different cultures. That should be a given. Like everybody should know that. Anyone who don't know that must not have paid attention in history class or world history, because I know I learned that in world history, in school. But okay, so let's just deal with Sekher Unk. Sekher Unk, because of the topic, Sekher Unk is being portrayed to mean bound for life, bound for life, or a prisoner for life. And that translation is convenient if you are implying that people were enslaved and stayed that way for a lifetime. That's a very convenient way to translate that phrase. But unfortunately, to those people, that's not what the phrase means. The phrase actually, the word saker actually is a verb that means to smite, to injure, to hit. And so saker in the word saker unk is a participle, passive participle at that, which means who is smitten, who is injured, or who is wounded, etc. That's what it means. And so the phrase in Kemet, for those who actually do study the language, along with the culture and the cultural aspects, you have to study it for a while to be able to read the different texts and how they're used to pick up on some of the cultural aspects of what today we call idioms and idiomatic expressions. Like, for example, I'll give you one. For example, the word set ib. Literally, those are two words. Those two words literally mean the place, set, which means a seat or a place, and then ib, which means the mind. So it's literally place, mind. But together it's used idiomatically to mean affection. Because when somebody has a seat in your mind, that means that they are, you're affectionate to them. They're constantly on your mind. You're constantly thinking about them. And you only constantly think about people who you are passionate about or affectionate about. Okay. So I'm just giving you that as an example. So Sakir Unk idiomatically is translated as prisoner of war. Why? The answer is because the word Sakir means to smite, but as a participle, it means one who is smitten. And in war, the word is used in a war context. And so people who were smitten and wounded or lost the war are sakir. They're smitten, but they're not killed. These are people who are smitten, but alive. They're not dead. They're not killed. So in that context, if you're fighting and then you defeat someone, they become your prisoners. So idiomatically, the phrase is being translated as prisoners of war, but literally it is someone who is smitten and alive. They're not dead. All right. So when people say bound for life, what they're trying to say is the word sakir means bound. It does not mean bound. It doesn't mean bound. Now, here's the thing, and I want y'all to hear this, who are listening, who may be listening to this video, if you get this far into this video, that is, if people are going to run with the idea of bound, They should not use the word seker for that. Seker doesn't mean bound. But guess what? The word unk does have a connotation of being bound. Not the word unk meaning life. Because see, here's the problem that people have. For some reason, people understand the concept of homophones, homographs, or homonyms in English. Like, for example, the word deer. You have the word deer as in the animal. Then you have the word dear as in dear mama. I write you today because so and so, so and so. Those two words are spelled completely different, but they sound alike. They mean two different things, but they sound alike. Dear and dear. Those are homophones, which means homo means same, phones sound, same sound. Another set of homophones, two, and two. We have two as in TO. We have two as in the number two. Then we have two as in TOO, meaning also. To the preposition, to the number, to meaning also. They all sound alike, but they're spelled different and they mean different things. Those three things are homophones. So what am I getting at? In Rodney Kimmett, in pretty much every language, there exist homonyms or homophones or homographs. One set of one of those three. So the word unk, when people say the word unk, there is no such thing as the word unk. There are words that are unk. Different words that today we pronounce as unk. And we would transliterate it the same. ANX if you're manual codage, or AN with an H and a curve underneath of it if you're using diacritic. So I hope everybody's following me on that. So there's a word unk that means sandals. See, everybody think unk just means life. There is a word unk that means life, no doubt. But there's another word unk that means sandal strap or sandal. There's another word unk that means oath, like taking an oath, swearing an oath. There's another word unk that means document. And then there's a word unk that means life.
I think there's even mirror. There's a beetle. Like unk has the most words. Probably it has a lot of different meanings that you could find.
Yes, unk that means reflection or mirror. A mirror, right? So this is what people have to understand. And so Sakir Unk, everybody just quick to say, okay, Sakir, if that means bound, which it doesn't, then Unk means life. So bound for life. Oh, there we go. Bound for life. Oh, hoorah, hoorah. No, that's not the case. So back to my point though, if people are going to invoke the concept of bound, then they shouldn't look to the word Sakir for that. They should look to the word Unk for that. So Mika, I don't know if you're still in the chat because I don't see you typing. If you're in the chat, type something. Give me a thumbs up or something. All right. So, but anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say that it just the logic alone, because the thing is in these places is like people just say stuff and and then people and you can say something to the audience, and obviously the audience is not well equipped to actually see through or ask the right questions, because even if you say secure unk means bound for life, like where do you get the fall in you could say what about bound in life, there's many things that could pop up, so somebody can't just say I think it's this and the dictionary is wrong and just leave it at that. So people just make up stuff on the spot.
Yes. And as a starting starting an investigation, it's okay to speculate, it's okay to hypothesize, it's okay to assume, but you don't want to conclude there, because it's a part, like if we're matter of fact, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do it properly. Give me 1 second. Yes, give me a second here. Let's do this properly. Because I just want to show people that, you know, I'm just trying to get the glyphs on the screens as I'm talking. Like I said, visuals are always better. Visuals are always better. Okay, so let me switch my screen over so you all can see what I'm seeing. Okay, so this is the word Seker Ankh in the glyphs. Okay, this is one of the ways that you will see it represented in the glyphs. Okay, I'm gonna repeat that. This is one of the ways that you'll see the word represented in the glyphs. All right. This is the word Seker. Get my arrow here. Seker, and then we have Ankh. And we have this determinative here of a man kneeling and bound, hands bound behind his back. Okay. So think about this for a second. People will say that this word means bound for life, and they're attributing the word bound to the word Seker, and then they're attributing the word life to the Ankh. That's what they're doing. And what I'm saying is that Seker does not mean bound. And if they're going to invoke a concept of bound, they should not look to the word Seker for that. They should look at the word Ankh for that. Because the word Ankh, there are words, Ankh words that will denote bound or binding. And I'm going to tell you how and why. When you take an oath, which is the word Ankh, you're bonding your words. And on the street today, we say, my word is my bond. You're swearing an oath. You're making a commitment. You are binding or bounding your words to a commitment. That's taking an oath. The word Ankh as a sandal or a sandal strap, notice that the sandal strap binds some material to your feet and ankles. It binds or bounds it to your ankles. The word Ankh, that means document, has a denotation of binding or bounding because the scrolls, the papyrus scrolls that they had were long sheets of papyrus, and they wrote on it and they rolled it up. To prevent them from unrolling, they had to bound them with string, with a rope. Okay. And collectively, that became the majat, or a document, a scroll. The string of the scroll or the document is also another word, Ankh. Okay. So you have this common theme of binding or restricting the roll from unrolling, restricting your words from being scattered and not meaning what you say and say what you mean, and taking an oath, and then restricting some material under your feet, strapped to your ankles, and calling them sandals. Okay. So, and then on top of that, the string on these prisoners, if you look at the artifacts very good, the string that's actually on the wrist takes the shape of an Ankh. It has a loop and then some things dangling, which gives the appearance of an Ankh. Again, pointing to the rope aspect of the Ankh. Now, lastly, if you look at an Ankh very closely in the artwork, you'll see that an Ankh is made up of a rope. The material of an Ankh is made up of a rope itself. Okay. And I just want everybody to go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just about to say that one thing that supports what you are saying is because you can find actually just the word alone, ankh, could also mean captive. There could be like a bound person. So that kind of supports what you're saying.
Yes. All right. So anyway, I'm saying so anyone who invokes the word bound in the phrase Seker Ankh, hopefully they're invoking that bound concept and associating with the word Ankh and not the word Seker. Seker means to hit, to strike, to injure, to wound, etc. like that. As a participle, which has an adjectival connotation, describing something, but used nominally as a noun or whatever. Seker means one who is smitten, one who is injured, one who is wounded. Okay, one who is subdued, smitten, wounded, all that kind of stuff after some kind of scuffle or fighting. That's why idiomatically together, Seker Ankh is translated properly, prisoner of war, because that's the context in which this phrase was used. It was used after some fighting went on, and the loser, the loser got bound up if they were kept alive. If they were dead, they would be moot, dead. And either the heads were executed and died, or in some instances you see penises cut off. Some instances you'll see the heads cut off to take inventories of the deaths of the enemies. Those people cannot be Seker, Ankh. They cannot be smitten alive. Those people are smitten and dead. So you won't see them being referred to as Seker Ankh. All right. So anyway, hopefully everybody can have some takeaways on that. So that's about Seker. So I don't know who brought that up. Sound like something Mika.
I'll blame it. Yeah, I was about to say I'm gonna blame it on Mika. I don't remember who said it first.
Oh, okay. All right. So I want people to understand all the things I said, you know. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing. At first, it's okay to speculate. It's okay to hypothesize. It's okay to guess. It's okay to start there, but you don't want to end there. And a true student of anything should understand that. A scientist understands that the scientific process, the scientific method starts off with speculation. You observe something, you observe a phenomenon, then you speculate on the who, what, where, when, why, and hows. Then you set up controls and tests and experiments, which are tests. To experiment is to test something. To try something is to test something. You have to set up certain controls. You have to eliminate error, eliminate chance, eliminate coincidence by setting up controls. And then you test, you test, you test. And then the results of that test will either confirm or falsify your previous speculation. That's a nutshell of how that process works. So if I were to look at this phrase for the very first time ever, it's understandably it's understood that you can look at this and say, okay, this word has something to do with life because the word Ankh is there, the symbol of the Ankh, and the Ankh means life. So much so that people carry it around, carry an Ankh around, to mean life and stuff, living life. So that's fine. That's okay. It's okay to do that. But you don't conclude there. You don't draw a conclusion there. You don't do that. All right. So that's why that may separate the enthusiast from a student, from a teacher, from a scholar, from a an expert or scholar. You have scholars who add to the body of information. You have teachers who are competent and proficient in the existing information to pass it on. Those are teachers. Then you have students who are learning from the teachers. Then you have enthusiasts who are just enthusiastic about things and share. They don't put the time into form a structure, order, and rigid curriculum about the information. They are enthusiastic about information, and all three of those are okay. None of them are better than the other. Like, they shouldn't be looked at as better than the other or anything like that. It's just that we have to be honest and know which category people are in and whatnot, and just do things accordingly. It's okay. But anyway, I want to say that for those people who look at this first and say bound for life, hey, that's okay. But don't conclude there, because you'll find out later that's not what it means. If you break the word up, it doesn't mean that. You put it together, it doesn't mean that. Bound for life. Like you said, Emicat, where's the word for? How in the grammar, how are words constructed to reflect that concept of for, A for B or X for Y?
You have A and B.
Yeah, like for. Bound for life or life bound.
Okay,
So
I
anyway,
see.
it's not
Yeah, I was gonna say that I guess grammar, you would say grammar would help in this situation, but also like text also would help, because like if you have these words, then you probably have to go through different texts and then see how within those contexts how they're being used in the different texts, and that will kind of help. So you can never overlook text and
right.
just take words in isolation, like looking at them in the dictionary and just taking them in isolation.
So I'm looking at the chat. I can only see the bottom of it. It won't let me scroll back too far. Boom says, yo, I was told the unk is life because it's the womb, the ovaries, and then the exit at the bottom. Oh, right. The unk is definitely not that. The unk is not the womb, the ovaries, and the vaginal canal. The uterus, the ovaries, and the vaginal canal. Or some people say the womb, the penis, and the children, or represent the woman, the man, and children. All of that is made up. Okay. Doesn't represent that. There's a word in the language for vagina. There's a word in the language for penis. There's a word in the language for children, a child. Matter of fact, the word for vagina, the glyphs looks like a vagina. And guess what the word is? I mean, not guess, but anybody on the panel know what the word is for vagina?
Two, cut.
Exactly, cot. And if you want to remember that, then just think of, how women refer to the vagina or whatever in modern times as cat. Cat. I mean, it's cot, but you think of cat and you're like, all right, I can remember that. The metu is a phallus or penis in the language. Children, kiared for children or child. Messy or meset, a child, or that which is born, which is a child. All right. So anyway, so I guess enough of that. Any other questions that I missed though? Um, because it won't let me scroll all back up. I see conversations, but I don't see any.
No, I'm trying to scroll through.
Okay. Yeah. So Amika said cat. She said Lord. Yeah, cat. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up. So this will be the last call for any questions or any, if anybody Anybody have any questions or whatnot? I'm gonna post a link one more time. See if anybody wanna last minute us and pop in and have some questions for us. Let me just copy the link one more time and put it in here. All right, so there you go. So Emicat provided the transliteration "cot" for vagina, but I want to show you the glyphs, and if I can just pull it up quickly, give me 1 second here, and I will pull it up. And I want you to see what this glyphs look like.
Just then Judy's asking, what the hell are we on tonight? I think he just walked in.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you all. All right, there we go. There we are, right there. Is it on the screen? Anybody tell me? Can you see it?
2.
You.
All right, that is the word for vagina, private parts, cot. So yes, Mika, it's cot. So listen, that being said, I don't know how many of you all are Funketeers. Y'all like, Parliament Funkadelic or George Clinton. But whether you like them or not, I'm sure you heard the song Atomic Dog. This is how you can really remember this. The song Atomic Dog. Does anybody know the lyrics of the chorus? Just the beginning of the chorus.
Doom, 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 doom.
Doom, 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 ba-da-doom, doom, 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 da-da-doom. Why must I feel like that? Somebody finish it. Why must I
Why
feel like
must I
that?
chase the cat? I think. Am I right?
You're a female. You're not supposed to say it.
Yeah,
I'm talking to
girl,
the
yeah,
fellas. I'm talking to the fellas. Why must I
Oh,
feel like that?
I must just get
There you go.
none but dog in me.
okay.
Exactly. Why must I feel like that? Why must chase the nothing but the in me? So anyway, I'm just telling y'all that's how y'all can remember that. George
Because
Clinton was on it, boy. I'm telling you. See, listen, if y'all talk about pseudo, y'all don't understand. I can flip the switch. I can get pseudo as all outdoors. I could literally start a cult. I could be rich and start a cult because I can make up some stuff on the spot that sounds really, really good now. But anyway, nah, George Clinton probably had no idea about this, but I'm just saying, for the purposes of remembering this, you could think about that song. Why must I chase the cat? I mean, why must I feel like that? Why must I chase the cat? The cat being, a woman, her private parts, whatever the case is. But George Clinton was on it. You got songs like Loose Booty, Nappy Dugout, Atomic Dog. See, that's before y'all time. I'm telling my age. Nobody knows about the song Nappy Dugout or Loose Booty. Loose Booty. Y'all don't know about that. It's sampled in all the hip hop songs, but y'all don't really know about that. Anyway, that's the word for vagina. Anyway, so the unk is not that. The determinative here on this image is the vagina. Now notice that though, you see how they have like a canal and then the curls that go in opposite directions. So you know that they knew what the vagina or the womb area, what it looked like. The fallopian tubes being curved or going off to the side. The vaginal canal, you get a cervix and so on and so forth. All righty, righty. So
So, never mind.
anything else though? Anything. Did anybody jump in here when I put the link in? Nope. I don't know what it is about our lives, boy. People, man, on everybody else's live, people be begging to get in. Crazy. People be in the super chat, $50 donation just to be seen. But yet people ain't, boy, I don't know what it is. I hope we don't intimidate anybody for any reason, because man, this is a safe zone.
Yeah.
Oh, Donnie Williams said you showing your age because I know Cube did a nappy dugout. Yeah, Cube, that sample, Cube got it. Nappy dugout. You know what I mean? So, but
Yeah,
anyway,
we might actually do a whole collection where we find words that actually, close to like what words we know with them, with how they look, and probably how the meaning behind them. Obviously, taking into account that we don't have the vowels, but they're pretty much a lot of different words. I think I remember one is like how you say ASAP, like quickly. There's one with S ASAP, kind of like almost close. I'll probably find it, but we might have to collect a few words and
Right.
find them and do one session with that.
I'll tell you,
yeah.
you gotta find the word lit.
Lit.
Yep.
There's a couple of words like that. Yeah, that would be a good exercise. That would be a very good exercise to find words that um carry over a meaning that reflects the similarities of the words, like cat. Like we use cat.
Yeah.
Cat is
Another.
actually a word to denote, a woman's private parts, and is actually a word in Rodney Kimmett that means vagina or private parts. And there's a couple of words that are like that.
Yeah, there's for ebony you have hebony as well, and then there's a few others that I kind of kept a document of. So we might have to really get that session going. But somebody would actually use that to actually try to prove that the ancient Egyptians were indeed black.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what the words they were using. I don't know.
yeah, you're right. I'm looking for another one, and give me a minute to see if I can find it. Because there's a couple that Oh, okay. Here's one. I gotta switch my screen over again. But here's one right here. That one's cat, and here's another one.
The people in Texas say cat. That's crazy.
Okay, so here is this word. This word is moot, and it means death. And we actually use the word the same way today, moot. We use it to mean death. Moot. It's moot. It's non non-existence. It's dismissive. It's not, it's moot. That's a moot point. That's a
Mm-hmm.
dead point. That's a moot point. That's a dead point. That's a moot topic. That's a dead topic. So moot is dead. Death. So that's one. There's another one, but it probably take me too long to find it, or I would have to make it because I don't even think I've ever made that one.
Is that etymologically correct? Like, I mean,
Uh,
from that to English?
Oh, I don't know. That I
Uh,
don't know. If it's not, it's these are coincidental, but these are like
yeah.
I think you had the word nap as well, and I think Siddiq A had it as well, the word for nap for hair. So
Yeah, yep. The word nap. That's what I was looking for. I thought I did that one
Yeah,
before.
you have it somewhere.
Yeah, and I can't find it. Nap. That one I cannot find. But if I did, oh, here we go. I found it. So I'm gonna show y'all another one. Oops. Okay, here's another one. This the word nap, and we say nappy today for hair, in relation to hair. But here's the word nop. Is it would conventionally we would pronounce this as nop, noppy. Comb your noppy hair. But this is actually the word nop. It actually means a tress of hair, a lock of hair. And a lock, anytime you say a hair is locked, it's binded. It's we say nappy, a nap. So that's the word nap. Yes, yes.
Wow.
All right. So anything else? It's 12:30. It's Friday. Nobody, I'm thinking people will try to come on to the panel or something. All right. So let me do this. Listen, for you all are serious, because listen, we create a learning environment. We maintain a learning environment. We encourage good character. We invite those to have good character, to always practice good character. We know that we're all not, quote unquote, as they say, perfect and stuff like that, but we encourage good character. We encourage character building. We teach, we learn, we share, all that good stuff. And if you are interested in learning the language, the writing system and the language, or whatever case is, we have a very good learning environment, and we take this stuff serious. You could sign up for our study course. It's self-paced, but we have 12 weeks of live sessions. We go through 12-week intervals for beginners level. In 12 weeks, if you do well, if you pay attention, if you're disciplined, if you stick with it, I could guarantee you that in 12 weeks, you'll be able to transliterate and translate basic inscriptions. All right. Usually monumental inscriptions, things that you'll find in museums and so on and so forth. All right. So, jump on board and learn. You know, you'll be fascinated at what you'll find out about the culture. Now, here's the significance of that. Learning this language is not going to put money in your pocket or food on your table directly, and it's hard pressed indirectly. So the benefit is not there, because I get people like, well, what's the point in learning about a dead language, a dead culture and a dead language? That's a waste of time and this and that. Like, okay, it's not for you. Jog on, keep it moving. But here's the real reason why a person should be interested in learning a language. If you're interested in ancient Egypt at all, the culture, you should be learning the language, because the only way you can engage the culture or have an intimate relationship with the culture is by way of its language. And that goes for any culture. So this is no different. You're not going to know about Egypt if you don't study the language. I don't care what anybody tells you. If you hear people talk about Kemet or Egypt, ancient Egypt, and they're not studying the language at least, then just understand that that person is handicapped. I'm not saying they can't offer any good information and stuff, because everybody can read. And if you can read and comprehend and stuff, and you do surface research, you'll be able to parrot and repeat what you've read and stuff and share good information. So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying to really engage the culture, to really get intimate with the culture, you have to learn the language, because language is the DNA of culture. And like I said, this goes for any culture. If I wanted to become a Muslim, I would be a much better Muslim if I learned Arabic. Why? Because the culture of the Arab culture and the Islamic culture is transmitted in Arabic. The Quran is written in Arabic. The surahs, the prayers, the salat, the rituals, everything, you say certain things in Arabic to fully understand that. If I wanted to become an Isheshe practitioner, Ifa, and et cetera, I better learn Yoruba. Period. If I want to be a good Christian, I need to learn Greek of the New Testament. If I want to become a Hebrew Israelite or a Jew or whatever, I should learn Hebrew. I mean, it just should be self-explanatory. If I really wanted to learn Chinese medicine and feng shui and tai chi and what's the other one? I Ching, their divination system, I need to learn Chinese.
Oh, you know, I can make it more simpler.
Say it again.
You can't. I can make it even more simpler. Like in America, I mean, in the street, you can't really be a blood or a crip without knowing, the science.
Okay, there you go. And you can't be a Freemason unless you know the signs and tokens, unless you have the signs and tokens.
Yeah.
So anyway, we this is what we promote and push. And we're not about the noise. We're not about the enabling bad character, bad players, bad actors in this learning environment at all. So I say that to say that if anybody listening live now, or you get to this point in the video watching it, just understand this is what we do, this is what we're about. Check out our archive, join our Facebook group, and you'll see we say what we mean, and we mean what we say. Okay, we practice what we preach. All right, period. Just practice what we preach. And to really be a scholar or a teacher or just a very good student, period, you have to understand character building and being honest with yourself and being humble enough and being open. Because I'm gonna tell you this, I come from a school. Well, not that I come from a school, but I have actual training as a team debater. And in my training as a debater on debating team, there's certain things that I was told and taught and stuff like that stick with me, and that are very useful, very, very useful. And one of those things is that you never acquiesce to a faulty premise, because if you do, you will always be led to a faulty conclusion. Always. And so we have to remember that. And so a good student, you have to understand that building good character sets the premise for, on the other side, or the output, or the resultant of that is, being, a good student, a good person, and so on and so forth, good teacher, and the whole nine. And you have to be able to be flexible, because this is the thing. In debating, there is no such thing as debating someone whose mind is made up. So I'm just going to repeat what I just said. There is no debate. I don't care if it's a proper debate or a pseudo debate, people call them debates. Neither one of them exist if the person involved has their mind made up, or if either party involved has their mind made up. That is not a debate. Okay? That is not a debate. So, why am I saying that? Is because you have to be flexible in these type of environments and conversations and stuff like that. You have to be, you can't be incorrigible. You can't be so stuck on stupid that you can't be taught anything, or you can't learn. We don't know everything. I like sharing, and I like other people to share. I want to learn. I want to share what I know, and what I can demonstrate, and then I want to learn and see some demonstration myself. And then together, if we learn together, we could walk the path. And that's it. All right. So that's what we about. And also in this environment, it's okay to make mistakes and errors and be wrong. But let me qualify that, because on one hand, it's not okay. And I only say that it's okay. And then at the same time, it's not okay. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's not okay to just stay stuck in a mistake. So mistakes are made and then you do something about it. An error is made, then you correct it. That's what I mean. But it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to guess. It's okay to speculate, but just don't end there. It's okay to believe, but don't stop there. Transform that belief into knowledge, into knowing. Okay, don't settle for belief. Don't settle for guessing and all that kind of stuff. Work it out. Work it out. Don't settle for lookership, and all that kind of stuff. No. Anyway, I'm just going on and on and on. Anything I missed in the chat last thing? Boy, I mentioned George Clinton, man. Everybody went on to I see Rick James, George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, Ice Cube. Boy, next thing you know, be Biggie and Tupac. Crazy.
What I wanted to say was like when I'm studying something, I like to find out when I'm wrong. I don't really feel that much. I don't really feel nothing to say that I'm right most of the time. It's like if I'm wrong, it's something I can really view that and see what what needs to be right.
Yeah.
I like the adventure in that more.
Yeah. I mean, it being wrong is part of a process. You don't want to end wrong, but you can begin wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You can begin wrong, but don't end wrong, and it's all a process, and we got to respect the process and be disciplined about it. So anyway, I was looking at the chat and I see another word I thought about, because I saw Emiket put sep, at as Harry sep twice again, asep, which is Harry. So sep meaning to say something twice, and then as is to hurry up. So asep is almost like ASAP, like do it ASAP. So that's a good one. We need to put together the glyphs for that so we can have it as a word for the day type thing.
Yeah.
But another one that's like that as well is the word tep. The word tep is the same as our word tip or top, the tip of something or the top of something. So the word tep, which is a profile head glyph, that's the word tep, like tep hesed, the tip of something, the top of something, Yes. So let's
That's a
see. I
good
want
one.
to learn it so I can understand the history better. I also like that it seems like a transferable skill, and I can pass it on to my kids when I have them, and nephews, nieces, of course, etc. Yeah. Well, listen, anybody who's interested in the ancient Egyptian culture, we refer to as Nikimic culture. Um, you have to learn a language. Bottom line, have to learn a language. Now, I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of rewards in doing so, and we don't even get into that on these um, live streams and stuff, because there's so much prerequisite things you have to have under your belt to really get into the finer aspects of ancient Egypt, because most people focus on the wrong things. Like right now, people are arguing over slavery in Egypt. People arguing over it, is Kemet gay? Did the aliens build the pyramids and stuff? Man, there is so much more to ancient Kemet than all that noise. Like, what about like forget who built the pyramid. Like forget if aliens or whatever did the pyramids or whatever. Egypt lasted over 3,000 years. It had its ups and downs, but it is a ancient world superpower. And so what about the genius that it took to build Kemet, to maintain it, and for it to last as long as it did, and for it to be such a quality overall great culture? What about the mental genius that went into that? Why aren't people trying to tap into that? Like the fact that Egypt unified. Do you understand the Nile Valley and Delta region, modern day Egypt? Do you know how many square miles that is? In a time where there's no telephones, no fast communication, no nothing. These people in that area unified and stayed in sync with each other for give or take up and down 3,000 plus years. That's amazing. That alone is worth studying. How did they do that? How did they unify that many people under one umbrella, one banner, and keep it like that? Pretty much. So you see, so the genius, man, the genius. And why is all eyes on Egypt? You know, it's crazy. But anyway, so all right, Hassan said tip is an extra on top of the price of money. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting as well. Tip. If you leave a tip, it's something that's on top of the price. That's a good one. Yep, that's a good one. So you have tip. Well, this one is not quite the same thing, but in the Arab world, it would be. There's the word hesab. The word hesab in Kemet means to count, to calculate. And in modern times, in Arabic, the word for computer is hasab or hesab, to count or to calculate. That's the word for computer, because that's what computers do. It crunches data, it calculates and stuff. So that's an interesting one. Hesab to hasub or hasuba, or I forget how you pronounce it in Arabic.
Yeah, you can also use it in Kiswahili, but that of course comes via Arabic. It will be hesabu.
Oh, hisabu. Okay, interesting. So there you have one right there. Yeah, we could find a lot of them. That'd be a good exercise to just dig some of those out and just list them. It's very interesting. So all right, well, we kind of said enough. We had the freestyle. We opened it up for any questions and everything.
Yeah, we learned new vocabulary, so that was good.
Yeah, why must I feel like that? Why must I chase the cat? Oh, you know what? It's nothing but the dog in me. It's nothing but the dog in me. Let me stop. Y'all don't want me to start on some funk. I listen. I am a funketeer.
Yeah, we're gonna get funkified.
Do you understand? I am a funketeer. Man, I'm gonna do a live just to invite some fellow funketeers, fans of Parliament, Funkadelic, George Clinton, the Rubber Band, the Horny Horns, the Brides of Funkenstein. I mean, you name it. We could have a. We got who? Who you? Say it again.
M-Tune.
Who?
M-Tune. You know the people who made Juicy.
Oh, M2May?
Yeah, M-Tune.
Oh, you don't went left field. I'm talking about some Funkadelic and Parliament and that whole
I thought it was the same.
Funkadelic family. I'm talking about what came out of that. You got the Brides of Funkenstein, Parliament, Funkadelic. You
Yeah,
have
Parliament, yeah.
Gucci and the Rubber Band. You have the Horny Horns. What other group come out of that? Any other group come out of that? Nah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'm gonna do a live just on some funkadelic lyrics. Boy, I'm telling you, George Clinton. I mean, I know this is way off subject, but George Clinton was a genius. Like he was on drugs, admittedly. Like he would tell you in a heartbeat that a lot of that stuff came. He was high as all outdoors, but the witty lines that he said, like he'll say some simple stuff like this. Second is what I wanted in the first place. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Second is what I wanted in the first place.
Yeah, that's a bar though.
You know what I'm saying? He'll just say some stuff like that. Second is what I wanted in the first place.
Yeah. I remember him saying that he made Atomic Dog, like I think he said he just mumbled it or something. Like he wasn't even trying to make that song.
Yeah, he was no, when he tells a story about Atomic Dog is when he was trying to get high and he couldn't. And
Oh, yeah, something like that. He was like, yeah.
and he couldn't. He was high, but he was trying to get higher or get high, whatever the case is. And he wanted to do a song, occupy the time, whatever. Went in the studio and didn't realize that the track that was playing backwards and all that stuff. So the Atomic Dog, that beat was actually played backwards, and they didn't mean to do that at first. And then he recorded some vocals on it. They had to keep it. And then Bernie Worrell, which is the baddest keyboard player on the planet, he put the melody to it, all that stuff. Anyway, I'm telling you now, I'm gonna do a live about funk. But anyway, so I'm gonna end this, man, because we about to go off on the whole thing. But I appreciate everybody tuned in. Check out the archives. Remember what I said. Visit the website, saberuniversity.com. The links are in the description of all our videos now. Netcher.com is our official website. Saber University is what it says. Saber, the word sabah or saber means to teach everything that deals with teaching, whether you're a student, teacher, student, sabati, teacher, sabah, or female teacher, sabat, instructions, directions, and all that good stuff. The University of Instructions, the University of Teaching. That's what Saber University is about. Go there, sign up for the beginners course. And let's go ahead and get started, because we're trying to raise an army of scribes. And that's what I would like to see. More people who actually study the language. And if that actually happens, the more people that study language, the better quality the conversations about Kemet will be. I guarantee you that. You're not going to get into that silly stuff that we hear all the time. The arguments, the people make things out of big deal, a big deal out of small things, or stuff that's just common knowledge and known and whatnot, But all right, so I'm going to say,
Oh, just remember to note that there are also free courses over there. So there's a course on how to look up words in the dictionary. That's fun. Transliteration systems and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yes, definitely. All right, so everybody last. Oh, Chris probably knocked out.
Yeah, I'm good now. Did those off.
Oh, he goes off, boy. I know because Chris was quiet. I didn't even know Chris was still in there.
Turned into a pumpkin.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I be doing these long goodbyes, don't I? Because I'll be surprised. Like I'm like, man, hold up. Like if we go live and it'd be like, ask us anything, it'd be like crickets. But the moment that we talk about something, all of a sudden people having conversations. I'm like, man, I don't want to get into, like I said, we don't get into the noise and stuff. These are teaching moments. I want to use things as examples and teach, like the word seker ankh, for example. People are making a big fuss about it, but it's real simple. It's a word that's idiomatically expressed as prisoner of war, and I told you all why. It's people who are spitting, but they're alive. They're not dead. They're not killed. Their actual fight and war took place in Egypt, where people were killed, like um enemies who were defeated were actually killed, slaughtered. There were enemies whose penises were cut off to count them, to keep count of, heads chopped off. You know what I mean? So, and then the fact of people arguing over slavery, there are different forms of slavery, and we like to put them into these small little boxes. Was it chattel slavery, or was it debt slavery? Was it just servitude? Was it serfdom? People want to get into that argument. I just let people have it, because the record speaks for itself. You can see what's up. And the biggest problem with that whole topic is when I've seen people try to compare it to the transatlantic slave trade, and stuff like that. All that's a sensitive, touchy subject, but knock yourself out.
That's what I was doing.
All right. So, but over here, if you want to learn about Kemet, more of the genius aspect of it, then that's what we do. All right. So she said, I don't want to leave. Now it's kind of early. It's like 1 in the morning. I'm trying to do those 8-hour marathon videos. Those 8-hour videos. But it's not enough people. Nobody.
Nah, see, if you want to do the 8 hours videos, what you have to do is, because yours actually is like a week's video. I'm talking in terms of the information that you've packed in them. So if you want to do that, you're going to take one information and then extend it, like stretch that one piece of information for like 8 hours.
Yep. Now, all we got to do is just start some drama. I bet you everybody want to chime in there, boy. I bet you if anybody just talk trash about somebody else, or
y'all ain't clowning nobody.
all that kind of stuff, boy.
You
It'll
ain't
be
talk about Chris quiet because you don't really know nothing about Sesh. Like, you have to go to the experts.
either that or just go super pseudo.
Chris is pseudo. Basically,
Go super
that's what he
pseudo.
claiming.
I bet you if I start talking about the chakras and all that, boy, man, how the Ankh is, and I could do it.
Yeah, you gotta do the scarab. The scarab beetle was it was made out of jade.
You said what? Say it again.
I said the scarab beetles were made out of jade and emerald.
Oh,
Yeah,
I could talk about the emerald tablets,
that
the
reflects the
Akasha
heart chakra.
records. I could talk about what the pyramids were really used for. Nobody knows, because no bodies were found in the Great Pyramids, but I could tell you what they were really used for and how they line up to Orion's belt and why. I can tell you about the true colors of ancient Egypt was really red, white, and blue, and how the United States stole the colors, red, white, and blue. You know why? Because you got the white crown called the hedge. You got the red crown called the desheret. Then you got the blue war crown. Guess what? The red, the white, and the blue. Did you know that there was a pyramid that was black? There's a pyramid that was red, and the pyramid that was white. Did you know that? Boy. And that's why the Egyptian flag today is red, white, and black with a little bit of gold. Why? Because you got Nubia. Boy, I'm telling you, boy, y'all don't want to get me started.
Nah, but people already know you. Like, you be killing all those arguments. Like, because when it comes to what's it called, the UFOs, you kill that. The Tamahu, you kill that. The Egyptian yoga, you kill that. Like, so you have a rep already. So I guess that's why people were not going to be like trying to talk to you in that sense, because they were like, nah, it's going to just end it.
But the one thing that's lingering is that Kemet is so named because of this color of Egyptian skin. That's, I mean, boy, I mean, I know why that's held so dear, but boy, that's a tough one right there.
And I just thought about it. You can't really say all that pseudo stuff. You're gonna have young pseudo coming after you. He gonna be like, "That's my stuff you teach me."
Yeah, that's crazy. But all right, man. I don't see any. Oh, he said Kemet on trial part 2. Yeah, we can have a Kemet on trial, boy. Put Kemet on the stand. Put Kemet on the stand, you know? Put Kemet on the stand. Let's put Kemet on the stand. Bring up all those arguments. Kemet's gay. Look at the tomb of the two brothers.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
Who, you know, the word brother is sin. And then the word for to kiss is sin, because you put the nose to a nose, that's sin. And then the word for two and double is sin. See? Sin, sin, sin. 666. The devil. The devil is gay. Egypt gay. Egypt gay. The devil's gay. Boy, you put the devil in Egypt and you got gaydom, gaydom. Let me stop. Oh boy, man. But
I
anyway,
ain't gonna look at Egypt like Hollywood, man.
No, but yeah, but you'll be the right person to actually make like nice, believable pseudo stuff. I know you could do it with like, because you know this stuff. So you'll be like, you'll make your pseudo stuff airtight, like really nice.
as I said, we could pseudofy things and start a whole cult, a whole pseudo cult. The pineal gland is the eye of Heru and the eye of Ra. The pituitary gland, the pineal gland, right in the brain, the Heru. So that eye, you chop a brain in half, you tilt the eye right there, boom, it's right there in that area, in the hippocampus area of the brain, which is responsible for memories and this and that. You tap in your crown chakra, you vibrate on a certain vibe.
You ascend.
And you can ascend.
And
due to the Earth's rotation around its axis in conjunction with its revolution around the sun on its 33 and the third axis in conjunction with the moon when it's full or when it's in a crescent, lined up with Osiris's belt, which is really Orion's belt, tied in with Sahu or Sirius. That's how serious it is, because it ties into the Sirius star. You hear me? I'm serious because it ties into the Sirius star. But then it goes on to the Andromeda galaxy, outside of the Milky Way galaxy, into the Snickers galaxy, all the way over to the Reese Cup galaxy.
the observable universe.
That made me drunk, man. Yeah,
boy, I tell you, boy, man. Then you got the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. What is it dipping? It's dipping into gold. Boy, I tell you, dipping into gold. Then you got the Aquarius with the water. Boy, oh boy. I'm telling you, we could pseudo this thing out. Then you got the Netcheru. They're really aliens from a planet in the 19th galaxy on the 8th planet. Not the 7th or 6th, but the 8th planet of the 19th galaxy.
Of the 8th house.
Called the Most High Galaxy, or Ilium. Where the records are kept. Where the good deeds are kept. El Ilium. You can find Ilium mentioned in the Bible. El Ilium, the Most High. That's where the Most High. You know what? That's where God lives. God lives in the 19th galaxy. And all of God's angels, which are really extraterrestrials, they travel here to the earth in spaceships. In Egypt, they're called the Manjet. They thought they were boats. They were solar boats. Guess what? Solar boats. These are sun boats. These are boats that flew near the sun. The Manjet. These are solar barks. Even in the movie, The Gods of Egypt, they showed Ra in a boat in space, where Apep was a serpent snake going up under him, trying to destroy him. He couldn't do it. That movie was real. It was based on real life. The Manjet, Ra going into the underworld. Now let me stop. I'm gonna stop because
That's a lot to unpack right there.
because some people gonna take a clip of this video and say Wujahu is tripping. They like you tripping. All right, but anyway, all right. So look, it's 1:00. So all right, this was fun. So I'm gonna say Shem Hotep. Listen, every Friday, every Wednesday, we're gonna try to be consistent with this. So tune in. Next time, join the panel when we have this. On Wednesdays, we're not gonna have a panel really. We present and then we may open it up. But Fridays, listen, it's open. Again, this is a safe zone. We're not trying to have none of that drama and noise. We want to learn. We can have fun. Share information, have information shared. Investigate something, whatever the case is. Okay, because the freestyles are kind of quick. We don't long those things out because we could have spent this entire time on the whole image because by now we'd have been finished the whole thing. But we want to mix it up. We want Friday to be, kind of upbeat and a breath of fresh air. Not always tense, not always adversarial with somebody's against somebody and this, that, and the third, and who gonna get in the ring, who's the champ, and this, that, and the third. No, it's not about that. We're just trying to share information and tap into something, tap into a culture's genius. Not to say that we are ancient Egyptians. Let's get that straight. We are not, nobody's an ancient Egyptian. Okay. Nobody is an ancient Egyptian. Let's just put that out there on the floor. Nobody is an ancient Egyptian. So people who study it, they're not trying to be ancient Egyptians. No more than you studying feng shui or you studying karate or martial arts or something or whatever that's known from other cultures. You're studying how to be a culinary whatever cook using French dishes and stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't mean that you want to be that or whatever the case is. It's you benefit from. This is how technology was spread. Cultural exchange. People exchange things. Take the best, throw out the garbage. That's it. Anyway, so I'm gonna say peace because I'm saying a long goodbye. But I'm gonna say good and fair. Appreciate that. And Shem Hotep.
And February.